Hey family, welcome back to my video. Today we will see, what if Harry Potter was raised by Professor McGonagall? Before we start, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the original author of this story. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. Now enjoy the video. Minerva Pov. I couldn't believe what Albus was saying. Leaving young Harry Potter with the Dursleys, oh no. I had to object, and just as I was about to, Albus said, unless someone here would like to take Harry Potter and raise him as one of your own. I immediately stepped and raised my hand. I was the only one who wanted to take Harry. Albus gently have Harry to me, and I immediately went back to my office to make a room for him. Classes were about to start, so I had to stay at Hogwarts. Albus then came in with someone from the ministry with adoption papers. I quickly signed everything and Albus wished me good luck. As I walked over to Harry's crib, I saw him with teary eyes, but until he saw me, he immediately stopped and smiled. I may not be Lily Potter, but I'll do my best to raise him. 1 month later, it's been a month and he has been just adorable. Today I was going to teach him how to walk. I grabbed little Harry's hand, placed his feet on top of mine to show him what it felt like to be walked, then he tried on his own. He kept falling, but he was determined to start walking, so with him sticking his little butt in the air and trying to balance, he slowly walked over to me, then fell in my lap while smiling. Oh dear. Professor McGonagall is smiling. Everyone run for your lives. Severus' voice came scaring me and Harry. I picked up Harry and walked over to Severus. Uncle Sev. Little Harry then stretched out his arms to let Severus know that he wanted to be carried by him. Severus walked towards me and lifted a giggling Harry from my arms onto his. Harry might have been Lily Potter and James Potter's son, and at first Severus despised the kid but then grew to love him. Now he is Uncle Sev. Uncle Sev was Harry's first word. It was such an adorable day. It was a teacher's meeting and I brought Harry along with me. While we were all sitting in the lounge discussing about stuff, Harry crawled over to Severus and Harry said, Uncle Sev. Everyone all cooed at the kid and asked me if that was Harry's first word, and I nodded. What a wonderful memory. Anyway, Minerva, since class is about to start in a week, what are you going to do with Harry? He can't stay in your classes. I thought for a moment, then said, well, I might have him stay with Albus or one of the other professors when they don't have any classes with the students. Some days I'll have him stay with me. Severus nodded and wrote all of this down and immediately sent it to the headmaster. He gave me Harry back and bid me a good night. I smiled at Harry, who gave out a cute yawn. I put him to bed and I got ready for bed. Hopefully the students wouldn't mind having Harry in my classes. 10 years later, Harry's Pov. Even after living at Hogwarts for so many years, I still managed to get lost. Right now I was at the astronomy tower when I'm really supposed to be at the Ravenclaw tower helping Flitwick clean up the common room. For an hour I kept looking until finally I made it. Then I saw the huge mess. Harry, you're finally here. Please don't tell me you got lost. Well, here in the castle you are bound to find hidden passages way. So I found one and took a shortcut leading me here. Flitwick rolled his eyes while laughing at me. I was going to be the death of him. After cleaning up the tower, I walked over to the Gryffindor Common where my mother has her own office and bedroom installed. Hello Harry, I heard from Flitwick you got lost again. When are you ever gonna learn the castle? My mother asked. Once someone has given me a map. I know Minerva McGonagall wasn't my real mother, but she took care of me, so she was, somehow. I continued my lovely discussion until the two of us were interrupted by the new defense against the dark arts teacher. He came to introduce him to us. When I looked at him, my scar started to hurt, but I kept a poker face and be polite. After a while he left and my mother asked me why my scar was hurting. She is the only woman who can see right through me. I told her I wasn't exactly sure why, but then quickly changed the topic. So mother, the first day of school is coming. Would you be upset that I wouldn't be in Gryffindor? Just asking. She then thought for a moment before saying, no Harry, I wouldn't. Everyone knows who you or so whatever house you get in, all of them will be proud. Don't tell the hat where to choose. Let the hat decide, but I will give you the password to Gryffindor common room to come see me. Yes, my mother has her own office plus bedroom in the Gryffindor common room where we are currently having tea. Some of the students know who I am and have been allowed to go in the common room to see my mother, but now I'm not so sure if I'm sorted into a different house. The next day, today was the day. Today is when I finally get sorted into the house I belong in. As I stood in line with the nervous first years, my mother started calling everyone's name one by one. She got to my name, but instead of using McGonagall, she used Potter and McGonagall. Potter, McGonagall. Harry. I walked up to the hat and my mother placed it on me. Well, hello Harry, it's finally time to place you. Let's see, kindness of a Hufflepuff, but that doesn't seem right. A mind of a Ravenclaw, a heart of a Gryffindor, and cunning as a Slytherin. Let's put you in Slytherin. The hat shouted the house of where I will be in, and I looked over to my mother, who gave me an encouraging smile and nodded. I smiled and walked over to Slytherin, where I sat near a platinum blonde hair kid. Well Potter, the name is Malfoy, Draco Malfoy. The blonde-haired kid pulled out his hand for me to shake. Malfoy. Ah yes. My mother had told me about some of the well-known pure-blooded families. The Malfoys were a big one. I shook it and said, "Nice to meet you Draco, but if you don't mind, I prefer to be called Harry McGonagall. Potter doesn't seem to do well for me since I didn't grow up with them," I said politely. Draco smiled and the two of us chatted while eating dinner at the feast. Minerva McGonagall Pov. I must admit, I was a little disappointed to where Harry was put in, but nevertheless, he would be with his uncle. After the sorting was finished, I walked back to my usual seat on the staff table. Dumbledore on my right and Severus on my left. Every day I have a nice conversation with Severus. Severus, what do you think of Harry being in Slytherin? Well Minerva, it wouldn't matter to me where Harry would have been. He would still be my nephew, but I am quite shocked that he was sorted in Slytherin. I was really expecting him to be in Gryffindor. I noticed all the teachers nodded in agreement. For a moment I got distracted and realized Severus was still talking. As long as Harry is happy, then I am happy. I completely missed out on what he said, but I assumed it was all the good things. Once the feast was finished and everyone was going to their common room, I pulled Harry aside and said, "Harry, congratulations on being Slytherin. Everyone is happy for you. Now I know you must rush, but remember, call all of the teachers professor. Until we are not on teaching duty, then you may call us by our names. Also, the password to the Gryffindor Tower is Buttercup. Don't ask me why, it just is. I love you Harry." "Thank you mother. I love you too." I gave Harry a quick kiss on the forehead and leave him be. I'm so proud of my boy. 3 Harry's Pov. I must admit, I was shocked when the hat placed me in Slytherin. I was hoping to get in Gryffindor like my mother, but at least I'm happy I was sorted somewhere. As I was walking to the Slytherin common room, I kept talking to Draco and he was telling me about how wonderful his family was, and I'll admit, it does sound like a nice family. Once we were in the common room, the head boy started explaining the rules, then we were dismissed to our dorms. Unlike the Gryffindor tour that had 5 beds per dorm, Slytherin only has 2 queen beds, making the dorm only allowed for 2 people. The dorm already had names so we could find who we were going to be with. I was with Draco. The two of us unpacked and went to sleep. The next morning as we woke up, we found our schedule on our desk. I quickly took a shower and put on my uniform along with Draco. We went to the Great Hall together, where I met some of his other friends as well. Blaise Zabini and Theo Knott. Soon the 4 of us got to know each other and became really great friends. We all looked at our schedule and noticed that Draco and Blaise were together for all their classes while I was with Theo. All of us had classes with Gryffindor. The only times we are ever together are before and after classes and lunch break. In 3rd year we will all get to choose 2 classes, so all of us agreed to do 1 class with the 4 of us. And one that we want. Soon, me and Theo bid our goodbyes and went to potions. Professor Snape told us the rules of being in his class and we began to make a Drought of Living Death potion. After class was finished, me and Theo got 10 points while the Gryffindors lost 10 points. Then together we went to Transfiguration and the rest of our classes. At the end of the day I excused myself from my friends to have tea with my mother like I do every day. I walked all the way from the dungeons to the Gryffindor Tower. Boy did I get a lot of exercise. I came across the portrait and told her the password. I walked through the common room like it was nobody business, and some of the first years were about to say something until the older years told them it was normal to see me every day for tea after dinner when everybody goes back to the common room, so they didn't say anything. "Hello mother. Hello Harry. Take a seat and let's talk about your day." I walked over to my usual seat for tea and made my own cup. Well, I first had potions with Uncle Snape and me and Theo got 5 points each. Then it was your class where you gave everyone 5 points if they were able to turn a beetle into a box, and you gave me points, charms with Uncle Phileas, and he gave me 10 points for levitating a feather. Then at lunch I sat with my friends who were Theo, Draco, and Blaze. Then for the rest of my classes I either earned 5 points or 10, so altogether I have earned 45 points for Slytherin. I fell asleep in history of magic. Doesn't everybody? Well, it seems as if you had a good day today. Keep up the good work and you might just be winning the house cup. Well, I'm proud of you, Harry. Now best get along. You have to be in the dungeons now. You probably have homework to do. You're right, I'll see you tomorrow, Mother. I love you. I love you too, Harry. I quickly gave Mother a hug and rushed to the dungeons before I got a detention. I met up with my friends who were struggling with the charms homework and decided to help them. After helping them with charms and transfiguration, we could all do potions on our own. Soon we all just hung out and then went to sleep. Yes, I will make other POV, but for now I want to ask, should I make this a Drarry or a Hermione book? If it is gonna be Drarry, then Hermione and Theo will be together, and Ron and Pansy will be together. If it's Hermione, then Blaze and Theo will be together. Draco and Astoria will be together, and Ron and Pansy will be together. So tell me, Drarry or Hermione? 4 Draco POV. Potter. Harry Potter. The Harry Potter in Slytherin. Who would have thought? However, it was quite interesting when he was also called up as McGonagall. As far as myself and the wizarding world is aware, he's been living with muggles hidden from the public. He was not what I was expecting at all. I thought he would have been more of a stuck-up brat, but he was polite and kind. I must tell my father that. It seems as if Harry knew every staff and got along with them. Did he perhaps live in the castle and was taken in by Professor McGonagall? Hence he took her name. Only he will tell. We were on our way to Transfigurations class when he noticed me struggling, so him being nice, decided to help me and a few other students. With his help, we managed to change the mouse into a sewing pin. As I was leaving, I noticed he stayed back to talk to the professor. I decided to stay back and wait for him for a bit. A few minutes later he came out and we talked while going back to the common room as it was our break. So Draco, I assume you want to know why I'm a McGonagall. I nodded my head. Well, I'm going to assume you read the Daily Prophet on me, living with the Muggles. Those are just false updates, so the wizarding world doesn't know where I truly am for my safety. When Dumbledore found me on the night my parents got killed, he was to bring me to my other living relatives, the Muggles. However, he also gave the other option of the staff taking me in, to which Professor McGonagall did. She told me how my relatives were the worst Muggles she has ever seen and could not bear to leave me with them. So for my entire life, I've been with her and the staff. Of course I call them other names, but now that I'm actually partaking in the school, I must call them by their formal names unless it's no longer class hours or we're in private. I was shocked with this information. It definitely cleared up why he was a McGonagall. What about the older students that were here? The older students of Hogwarts have been informed by all the staff to keep me a secret as they didn't want to put me in danger. Needless to say, that secret has been well a secret for the last 10 years. Now that I'm becoming older, it's my choice on whether or not I want to reveal to the world if I want to expose myself or keep the wizarding world in the dark. Wow. It's amazing how they said nothing about you and how McGonagall was willing to take you in. Do you know any secret pathways? Harry laughed at my joke and shook his head. I must admit, I had such a pleasant time talking to him. Probably because Professor McGonagall had raised him like that. He seemed very caring, polite, and obviously respectful. Whoever gets him in the future is lucky to have him. Hopefully after this conversation we can become better friends. 5 Hermione POV. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. I can't miss charms. I must make a good impression on all the staff. Ouch, oh dear me. I'm so sorry, I wasn't watching where I was going. Here, let me help you. I looked up at who bumped into me and I see the Harry Potter. Way to go, Hermione, you ran into him. It was my fault. I didn't want to be late for class. Which class are you going to? Charms. You do realize you have plenty of time still. 20 minutes still. Did you perhaps read the schedule wrong? Wait, I had 20 minutes to charms. I whipped out my schedule and indeed I did read it wrong, so I sheepishly looked back at Harry. Oh, yeah, I did read it wrong. Thanks for helping me with my books. What's your next class? Same as you, charms. Majority of Slytherin and Gryffindor are together for their classes. Oh my God! Where are my manners? I'm Harry McGonagall. What's your name? He took my hand and kissed it, then proceeded to tell me his name. McGonagall. So the professor didn't make a mistake when she called out his name, since he calls himself a McGonagall as well. I'm Hermione, Hermione Granger. Well, it's been lovely meeting you, Miss Granger. Tell me, would you like to walk with me to Charms? He's offering to walk with me. I never thought that would happen. All right. So then we started walking to class. Because we still had a few minutes left to kill, I decided to keep the conversation going. So, what do you think of Hogwarts? Well, Hermione, I lived in this castle my entire life. I've seen students come and go. I've seen and met all of the staff. You know, Professor McGonagall is my mother, and as for the other staff, I call them Professor only during school hours now, but if we're in private or it's no longer teaching hours, I can call them what I've been calling them growing up. What about you, Miss Ganger? Please, call me Hermione. As for Hogwarts, this is one of the most amazing thing I've seen. I've only recently found out there was a wizarding school that I was allowed to attend it. My parents told me I was a wizard when I first did accidental magic. They were amazed that magic was real. When I first started attending classes, I couldn't believe it with my own eyes that I was doing magic. Now I strive to be one of the top students. It's a shame how some of the students are already slacking off. Oh no, I wouldn't stop ranting. But Harry seemed to listen to me and caught every single word, as he did laugh at the last statement. Yes, indeed, it is a shame that students slack off. But I wish you the best of luck, Hermione. No doubt I see you rising to the top. However, you might have competition. I must say, I had a lovely time talking to you. We must continue talking whenever we're on our way to classes. You might also see me come in the Gryffindor common room whenever I talk with my mother. Don't hesitate to stop me if you would like to talk or simply do homework. Now we must go our separate ways, seeing as we've reached Charms class. Harry was allowed in the Gryffindor room? That's amazing. He truly does have a way with everyone here at Hogwarts. I went to my respective seat, which was Gryffindor in the front row and Slytherin in the back. I noticed he sat beside Malfoy and had a conversation with him. One thing, however, kept lingering in my mind. He said I had competition in class, but with who? After all of my classes were done and I finished dinner at the Great Hall, I went back to my dorms, where the girls bombarded me with questions about Harry. One of the girls, Lavender Brown, seemed to be jealous that I caught Harry's attention before her. Harry was not a prize to be won. He can give his attention to whoever he wants. His attention for me was strictly because I accidentally ran into him. Though, I do want more of that attention, and hopefully the two of us can become closer friends. One thing I'm worried about, does he care about blood status? I hope not. I don't think I'll be able to face the embarrassment of the entire school if he called me mudblood. 6. Harry's POV. It's been a couple months in, and it seems like the students are very well aware that Professor McGonagall is my mother. They also seem to be picking up the hint that the other staff are happy with what I do, and while they try not to show favoritism, it's obvious. However, one thing is very unclear. Whenever I look at Quirrell or when he looks at me, my scar hurts depending for how long we look at each other. Because of that, my mother and Uncle Severus have been keeping a lookout for any suspicious activity. Right now I was currently with Hermione in the library discussing charms. She was having trouble with certain hand moments as well as vocalizing the spells. We spent around 2 hours working on our homework when it was time for dinner. We said our farewells and parted to our respectful tables. As usual, I sat next to Draco and Blaise Zabini. We talked about what's going on in our lives. Soon Draco brought up something. Hey guys, my parents have been generous this year and are requesting me to bring you guys to the Malfoy Manor to celebrate Christmas and to stay for the winter break at the manor? Blaise was the first to respond. I'll check with my mother. I have a feeling she'll let me go, but always got to double check. I thought for a moment before responding. Harry? I'll talk it over with my mother. I suspect she'll let me, but will want me back halfway. Draco nodded and continued eating with Blaise. I politely excused myself to go to the Gryffindor room, waiting for my mother. Sometimes I'll just go to the room to hang around, but mostly for my mother. I didn't have to wait long. Hello Harry, what do I owe this visit? Hello mother, please let us go into your office to have our daily tea. I wanted to discuss something with you. She prepared our teas and I started. Draco was telling Blaise and I while we were having dinner that his parents are inviting us over to the Malfoy Manor to spend winter break and Christmas there. I want to ask your permission if I am allowed to go. I am willing to come back early if you wish. I'll permit you to go, but do come back maybe a day after Christmas Day. After all, I do want to open presents with you. Plus I feel like it would do you good to see a new environment. After all, you have lived in this castle for all of your life. I silently screamed yes in my head and bid my mother a good night. I left Gryffindor Tower and silently walked in peace to the dungeons. I still have to figure out what to give my family and friends for presents. As I walked into my dorms, it seemed as if Draco and Blaise went to bed early as they were already passed out. I did my nightly routine and finally tucked myself in bed. All I can say was, I'm really enjoying life right now. Hello, yes, it's me, the author. Quick question, should this story have good Voldemort and bad Dumbledore, or do you prefer good Dumbledore and bad Voldemort? 7 McGonagall Pov. I have been extremely proud of my son's grades and how he is behaving. So proud. And all of the others seem to agree because we're all talking about him in the staff room. Harry's performance in potions is phenomenal. I still can't believe our little boy is growing up so fast. It seems like it was only yesterday he was brought into Hogwarts and snatched all of our hearts. I agree, even in herbology he is amazing. You raised quite an exceptional boy, Minevera. Very smart for his age as well. What could I say? He is a wonderful, intelligent boy. It makes me proud to call him my son. We all continued to talk until the bell rang, alerting us to get back to class to teach some of the students. At times like this, for me to calm down from students were to be thinking of how my son is better than all of this dunderheads. Oh dear me, I sound like Severus now. But it's true. Reading their essays makes it seems like I'm trying to read a 5-year-old kid's story. Nothing they write makes sense. I ask the third-year students for a 3-page essay on the theory of animagi, and what do I get? A 1-page essay with the steps on how to turn into an animagus, along with their excuse of not being able to find time to write their essay. But when I ask my son to write the theory of animagi, I get a 5-page essay with all of the theories along the steps on how to turn into an animagus. Luckily the day just flies right on by and I'm on my way to my office in the Gryffindor Tower, where I spot my son waiting for me. We both head into my office for tea, where he requests if I can allow him to spend Christmas with the young Malfoy heir. I see no reason to not let him go. The Malfoy himself has exceeded in my class and shows manners not only to me, but to all of the professors, as well as handing his homework on time. And it may do good for Harry to spend his time elsewhere other than the castle, so I let him. I'm not going to deny that I will miss him for a bit, but it will do me good to find a gift for him. I would have bought him a Nimbus 2000, but Severus has already planned to after his stunt during flying class that lead him to be the youngest Seeker of the Century on the Slytherin team. Whilst I was thinking of what to get him, Severus came into my office not long after my son left. Hello Severus. What can I do for you? Have you felt it? It's been a long time. Yes, I have felt it, however it is very faint. I'm just worried to how young Harry will react. I do as well, but we have to tell him. We have to tell him the entire truth. We cannot have him slide to the wrong side. If we tell him, perhaps he will want to join. I have no doubt he'll want to join, but there is that little hint of doubt that he'll choose the wrong decision. Should we tell him after he comes back? After who comes back, cause they're both gone, or are you talking about Harry? Is Harry going somewhere? Yes. Harry is going to stay with the young Malfoy for Christmas, but I requested him to come back so he can celebrate with the professors as well, since we are his family. As for the other questions, let's wait until the end of the year where it's most safe. We don't want anyone overhearing what we are about to tell him after all, since it could be dangerous for him. All right, Minnie. I shall bid you a good night. If this feeling happens again, but more stronger, let's say, then we have to tell Harry the truth. He could help us after all. Agreed. Good night, Severus. With that, he made his dramatic move and left. Honestly, why does that man has to be so dramatic all the time? But what he says is right. This feeling will not be the first time, and I'm scared for my son. How will he react? 8 Severus Pov. It's been years since he disappeared, yet I felt a wave of his magic. After talking with McGonagall, I walk into my private quarters and I immediately hear a whoosh coming from the fireplace, and what do you know? The one and only Lucius Malfoy steps out. Knowing exactly what he's going to say. Yes, Lucius, I felt the magic. What do we then? We wait for the orders. What about Harry and Draco? What do we tell them? I honestly didn't think about that. How would they feel? Would they be safe if we didn't tell them or put them in more danger? Surely they would understand, right? Exactly my point, Severus. And we can't lie to them either, they're incredibly smart boys, they would figure it out eventually. Perhaps we should talk about this at your manor one day, where we can all gather together. From there, we can all figure out what to do and get orders from the second in command. I'll send out the invitations as soon as possible, and with that, Lucius finally left my quarters. The next day all that was on my mind was Harry and Draco. I was trying to figure out ways to protect them. Of course I'm skilled in potions and could use that to my advantage, but at the same time, I won't always be there, so they would have to train. They're so young though, they shouldn't have to go through this at a young age. True to his word, Lucius sent out invitations to gather at his manor. All of us will most likely go since we're now at a loss of what to do. That means I must tell the boys what is happening as soon as possible. Never in my life have I ever been scared for someone. Normally I wouldn't care, but this is my godson and nephew, lives at stake, and I've made a promise to myself to protect them at all costs. Yay. Finally updated. Sorry it's short. Also I want your opinion on how I make the characters speak. Do you like it all spaced out, or do you guys prefer it if they were closer together, like all in one? For example, I love you Harry, I love you with all of my heart, I love you too. Or, I love you Harry, I love you with all of my heart, I love you too. 9 Harry's Pov. At last, Christmas has arrived, and that means I finally get to meet the Malfoys and spend time with Draco. Currently everyone is at the Great Hall having a nice breakfast before everyone leaves to see their families. Sadly, my mother was one of the few staff that were chosen to stay at Hogwarts this year to watch the students who were staying back, but I did promise her that after Christmas Eve, I'll come back for Christmas Day to open presents with my family. I finished eating when Draco suddenly pulled me, exclaiming that we have to pack. Luckily I already packed the night before, so now I'm stuck helping Draco pack his things. Thankfully he didn't take too long. Soon we were at the station and currently in our compartment chatting away while doing our homework at the same time. Since the train ride takes forever, we managed to finish all of the work, leaving us with a bunch of free time. Hey Harry, what's one thing you want to do when we arrive at the manor? Well, firstly, I need a tour since I have no idea where I'll be going. If possible, do you think your parents would allow us to go shopping? I still have to find some gifts, especially for my mother. I don't have an idea on what to get for her. Any suggestions? I don't know. Wait, actually never mind. I don't know. What was your idea? I was going to suggest getting her an owl, but I think it's kind of ridiculous. Actually, instead of an owl, I could use a two-way notebook. So I could talk to her without anyone overhearing us. Thank you, Draco. A two-way notebook would be splendid. Because of all the times I've talked with my mother, someone overhears and tries to spread rumors only to get into detention with her. At last, the train has finally reached the station and everyone got up. Immediately, I noticed long platinum blonde hair and recognized him as Draco's father, Lucius Malfoy. Draco shoved past me to greet his parents. I followed along, except I was more polite. After formal introductions, we were all standing at the very front of Malfoy Manor. From your description, I was aware it was going to be beautiful, but seeing it in reality, holy damn, it's gorgeous. Excuse my language. Haha. Wait until you see the inside, Harry. Draco grabbed onto my arm and dragged me into the manor, and he was correct. The inside was spectacular, and honestly, not what I quite expected. The outside was filled with dark wood, but the inside, well, yes, the furniture are all back, but the decorations are filled with black and white marble, just a sight that can blow anyone away. Draco showed me to my room and told me what usually happens at the manor. Seems like they have a schedule for eating and when to meet up to discuss about their day, upcoming events or problems someone is having. Since I am here, I don't want to ruin their schedule, so I told Draco to proceed with what they would normally do and decide if they want to include me or not. They did want to include me, so now I got the lovely experience of waking up at 7 in the morning to get ready in an hour for breakfast at 9. After that, we all have free time to do whatever we please until 2, which would be lunchtime, to which again we have free time. However, from 5 to 7, that would be the time to meet up and discuss about whatever it is that is on our plates, and at exactly 8, would be dinner. Since Draco and I have nothing to do since it's our break, we didn't have a curfew. Days went on by and before we knew it, it was Christmas Eve, which also meant it was my last day at the manor before going back to Hogwarts. During my final dinner, I thanked everyone to allowing me to stay. I won't be seeing Draco at all for the remainder of the break, which is quite sad. I'll be bored. The next morning, I was up and ready to go. I walked downstairs to see Mr. Malfoy waiting for me. "Ready to go, Mr. McGonagall?" "Ready as ever, sir." I took his arm and felt the familiar feeling of apparition. Almost made me pass out. I noticed we were at the front of the gates to Hogwarts. For a moment I forgot why Mr. Malfoy couldn't just take me in directly, until realizing they have wards on Hogwarts only allowing the staff to pass in or out. Even though I'm not a staff, they changed the wards to let me come and go as I please. I turned around to thank Mr. Malfoy for letting me stay at his home while also wishing him a Merry Christmas. He merely nodded at me and then left. Knowing my way around the place, I just strolled right into the Great Hall wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. I quickly walked to my mother and gave her a hug. I also gave her my present that I bought for her when Draco and I were allowed to go shopping one day. "Thank you, Harry, and honestly very smart of you to think of that. Now whenever we have our tea, we don't have to talk about anything too personal. I love you very much." My mother gave me another hug before shooing me off to unpack my stuff and getting settled back into the castle. Since I already ate before coming here, I decided to give the rest of the professors their gifts by leaving it in their offices. Hopefully they'll appreciate it. However, when I passed Professor Quirrell's office, I felt a strong wave of magic upon me. I knew it wasn't the professor's magic since, no offense to him, his magical aura is quite weak and this magic was strong and powerful and dark. To make up for the short chapters, sorry if it seems weird, I was really tired and loopy at the moment I wrote this. 10 Harry's Pov. Ever since I felt that strong magic, it had been bothering me constantly. While I'm tempted to ask my mother about this magic, I shall not. She has more important things to do, such as getting prepared for finals. Thankfully Draco is now tolerating Hermione. At first, Draco was really against the idea of befriending or even just associating with Hermione just 'cause she was of lower blood, but after a lot of convincing he came around and is okay with her. All it took was a bunch of insults stating how someone of a lower blood was better than him and that he could learn from her techniques and could even be better than her. Draco, Hermione and myself have been studying for days on ends. The three of us are the highest in our class, therefore we strive to be the highest in our finals. If we are not, well then I'm pretty sure we are all going to suffer in a corner. My mother has requested me to stay a little bit past our normal tea time to talk about something. Normally she never does this, so it must be important. As I make my way to Gryffindor Tower, in the corner of my eye see 3 boys discussing about something. Them not noticing me, I manage to get closer and overhear what they are saying. "Ron, do you really believe Professor Snape is trying to steal the stone?" "Yes, Seamus. And the only way for him not to steal the stone is for us to get it first. Is there a problem?" "What if we get caught?" "We won't, Dean. I got a plan up my sleeve though. The only way this plan will work if you guys are willing to help me. And it has to be tonight, so will you?" I see both Finnegan and Thomas nod their heads and quickly walk in my direction. Luckily I managed to look like I was just walking up the stairs. Weasley gave me a hard shove, but at this point it was quite expected given I am after all a Slytherin. I must inform my mother of this information I acquired. "Hello Mother, I heard you have something important to discuss with me about, but may I tell you something I overheard from your lions first?" "Please." Mother being curious to what her lions were doing, she nodded her head. "Mr. Finnegan, Thomas and Weasley all believe that Uncle Snape is planning on stealing a stone that I presume is in this castle. They talked about getting the stone before him and will be venturing out tonight. I figured it would be important to inform you and perhaps the rest of the staff in case they do decide to go after hours." "Well Harry, thank you for informing of this. And regarding to this stone, it is the Philosopher's Stone. I'm sure you're aware of what this stone is." "The stone that grants you eternal life, correct?" "Yes, it is here in the castle. Hagrid brought it in for safekeeping. However, if those boys are out to get it tonight, get Mr. Malfoy and Ms. Granger and find me in the staff room. I'll be preparing for an emergency meeting tonight to stop the boys from getting the stone. My discussion with you can wait till after this is done." Following my mother's orders, I gathered my friends. Hermione being in the library as usual and Draco being in the common room. Quickly Summarizing what I just discussed with my mother, there 3 of us rushed to the staff room. Thank you, Mr. McGonagall. I presume both of you have been informed of what is happening, yes? Yes, Professor Dumbledore, but if I may ask, why do you need us? Well, Ms. Granger, the staff and I agree that we want you 3 to stop the Gryffindors from getting that stone. That stone is very important, you see, we cannot just let them take it. You guys must leave now. If anything, you'll need a head start so that when they arrive, you are to shadow them. When you arrive at the 3rd corridor, all the traps we have laid out coincides with our teaching. I want this to also be a challenge for you to figure out, so in this order, this is what you must pass. Magical creatures, herbology, charms, transfigurations, defense against dark arts, potions, and lastly would be me, but since I do not teach, it is the mirror of Verized. Good luck. Using the information, we ran to the 3rd corridor and opened the door to see a Cerberus. Where in the bloody hell did Hagrid get that from? 11 Minvera Pav. Albus. What in the world are you thinking? Sending off my child and his friends to do our test to protect the stone? Are you really that daft? No matter. I must rush to get the kids. Albus. Sending kids to our traps? Have you lost your mind completely? Before Albus could respond to me, I got up and left the meeting. I could overhear Snape saying he agreed with me and ran to catch up. How far do you think the children have gotten? I pondered at the question Snape asked. Knowing my son, hopefully, he didn't even start. Hopefully my son had sought out a plan but has not yet followed through them. We finally made it towards the door. I slammed it open to see them going into the trap door, my son going first. Hold it right there, Mr. McGonagall. Do not listen to what Professor Dumbledore had to say. Thankfully my son listened until he tried arguing back. I thought I taught you well, Harry? But Professor Dumbledore is on a higher authority than you, so shouldn't we technically be listening to him? He does have a point. But Dumbledore has also lost his mind. Mr. McGonagall, have you forgotten that while yes, Dumbledore is the most powerful wizard, he is not the most sane, you would say? I guess you're right, Uncle Snape. But what should we do? The Gryffindor boys will come. Harry, what I want you and your friends to do now is on your way back to the common room, and if you somehow manage to bump into the boys, please send them back. Miss Granger, same goes for you. I feel like you might have better luck, but I can never know. Now off to bed and do not listen to what Dumbledore has to say. Dear Lord, Snape and I must protect that stone from you know who and curious students. You do realize you can say his name, he won't hurt you. Damn you, Snape, and your legilimency. 12 Harry's Pav. After my mother sent my friends and I back to the common room, Draco and I were talking about what other traps the professors had set out. We knew the Cerberus was Hagrid's and the Devil's Snare was Professor Sprout. Uncle Snape is clearly potions. I mean, he is the potions master after all. That did seem right. Uncle Snape would have something to do with potions. Although, I do have an idea that all the professors would do something with their respective skill, but what would they do? Draco, like I would know. Maybe. I rolled my eyes at him. Yes, I am smart, but I'm not that smart to figure out every task the professors would put out. I got myself ready for bed when I noticed a letter on my desk. Mr. McGonagall. I must say, if it wasn't for your mother and Professor Snape stopping you, you would have gotten to meet me. I see a future with you and I together, and not in a good way, so I have a proposal to make. Without telling your mother, I want you to go through all the tasks the professors had set out and get me the Philosopher's Stone. If you have achieved the stone, I'll tell you everything about me and what I plan to do with this world, alongside your mother's very tiny dark secret. You have this week to decide and next week to follow the action. I hope you chose well, Mr. McGonagall. With no name signed at the bottom. Great, my mother has a dark secret she isn't telling me about. She doesn't tell me a lot of things about her to begin with, and I realized I never asked about her. She only told me about who she was and is during conversations. If I am to follow in this person's proposal, he would tell me my mother's secret. Should I? Okay, so this is a filler chapter, you could say, and you guys decide if Harry should follow the anonymous letter. Just say yes or no. Second, I got a new puppy. Her name is Keeper and she is a pure Pomeranian, photo above. Any tips on how to raise a puppy? T is my first dog. Third, I try to update once a month, so apologies for no update last month. Things have been getting quite busy with me, Sue. Yeah. If I don't update, yell at me. 13 Harry's POV. It's been a week since I received that anonymous letter. I've been trying to approach Mother on this letter, but it seems like she's been really busy or is ignoring me. Regardless, since I could not get the time with my mother, I have no choice but to follow in what the letter wants me to do. It was around midnight when the teachers have finally finished their rounds. They won't make their rounds until 3 in the morning and lastly at 5. I must make this quick, for sometimes the staff can be quite unpredictable. I always felt there was no use to bring this, but along with the anonymous letter, I was given a present. The invisibility cloak. I always thought the cloak was simply from the tale of Brothers Grimm. I never thought it would be the real thing. Regardless, seeing as I have use for it now, I make my way through the third corridor without being caught. Of course, just like when Hermione, Draco and I first went in, it was the Cerberus. However, unlike the first time, the huge dog was fast asleep to the sounds of a harp. I quickly dashed for the trapdoor that was conveniently there for me, slipped through and land on the devil's snare. Due to my incredible intelligence, I stayed still and slipped through, landing on my tush. These professors didn't think about any cushioning whatsoever. After walking around for a bit, I found a corridor which I presume led to the next chamber of traps. Opening the door, something flew right past me, scratching my cheek just a bit. Thankfully it was only a small scratch that I didn't have to worry about. Taking in what was flying, I noticed there were keys. Clearly one of them had to be the key to the next trap. Picking up the broom that was near the door, I was zooming around finding the one key that was used. It took approximately 10 minutes of me just flying around until I finally noticed a key with slightly bent up wings. After a good chase and a bunch of miniature scratches on me, I grasped the key in my hand and shoved it into the door that led me to a game of chess. Automatically I knew this was my mother's creation. My mother does understand that I am absolutely horrid at chess. I saw the next door, and being aware that the king was waiting for me to play, I tried to quickly open the door just so I can sneak to the next room. Of course I was dumb. My mother wouldn't let any trespasser get away that easily. I had no choice but to join the game. Seeing as I was the only player, Magic conjured up 2 extra players to help me. I simply followed what Magic did during chess, and I was able to checkmate the king. Dashing my way towards the door, it finally unlocked. I swear, I am going to go nose blind with this horrendous odor. Finding the source of the smell, it was a troll that was knocked out. Thank Merlin I didn't have to fight the troll, but not knowing when it was going to wake up. Next chamber, here I come. Of course, just like Draco and I predicted, Professor Snape did something with potions. Why am I so surprised again? Approaching the potions, black fire emerged around me. For a moment I got scared until I saw a piece of parchment with something written on it. Recognizing Uncle Severus's writing, I realized he wrote a riddle. Reading the riddle, I had an understanding of which potion to choose. Danger lies before you, while safety lies behind. 2 of us will help you, whichever you would find. 1 among us 7 will let you move ahead. Another will transport the drinker back instead. 2 among our number hold only nettle wine. 3 of us are killers, waiting hidden in line. Choose, unless you wish to stay here forevermore. To help you in your choice, we give you these clues for. First, however slyly the poison tries to hide, you will always find some on nettle wine's left side. Second, different are those who stand at either end. But if you would move onwards, neither is your friend. Third, as you see clearly, all are different size. Neither dwarf nor giant holds death in their insides. Fourth, the second left and the second on the right are twins once you taste them, though different at first sight. Grabbing the clear potion bottle with a murky dark yellow potion, if my intuition is correct, this is the ice potion. Downing the potion, I felt my body freezing and I went through the fire with not a single burn. Thank God I actually listened to Uncle Severus during class. Praying this is the last chamber of traps, I walked through the door to see 2 things. Professor Quirrell and a mirror. Ah, Mr. McGonagall. You made it past through all those traps. I knew I could count on you to show up. You mean you were the one who wrote the letter? In a sense. I wrote the letter, but they weren't my words. Bring me closer to Mr. McGonagall. My lord. You must conserve your strength for when you get back. I have enough energy to speak right now, as you wish, my lord. I watched the scene unfold me as Professor Quirrell was unfolding his turban. Slowly he turned around and there. Another face. Soon that face became bigger as he was walking towards me. Mr. McGonagall, it's been 11 years since we have met. I do believe I tried to kill you, but you have bested me. The boy who lived? Indeed, it has a nice ring. Much like I said in my letter, get me the stone and I'll tell you everything you wish to know. However, the stone is in that mirror and I can't get to it. I know you're smart, so give it a shot. Walking towards the mirror. My main objective is to get the stone, but alas, that's not what I see. I saw my parents. I was drawn. I've never seen my parents. Of course, all I saw were pictures of them when they were younger, but my parents. This is what they looked like before they died. Tears were desperately trying to escape from my eyes, but I would not let them. Well, what do you see? The Dark Lord screeched in my ear, breaking me out of my trance. I see myself hugging my friends while holding the house cup we have won. I'm trying to get the stone. I really am trying. I'm losing patience. Try harder. Looking back at the mirror, my parents are gone and suddenly it is just me. I see myself with a red stone and I put it in my pocket. I see, that was the trick. To possess the stone but have no desire to use it. Good play, Dumbledore, good play. Feeling a weight on my pocket, I have achieved getting the stone. Turning to the Dark Lord, I outstretched my hand towards him. Finally, the stone that grants you eternal life. Well, of course no one can give you true immortality. This stone merely extends your life by 7 times. True to my word, I shall explain who I am, what I want to do to the world and your mother's very dark secret, so take a seat, it will take a while. Unfolding my invisibility cloak, I placed it on the floor, seeing my tushy still hurt from the devil's snare dropping me. As we all know, I am the Dark Lord. I go by many names. Tom Riddle, he who must not be named, you know who, Lord Voldemort, my lord, Dark Lord, and so on. I was a young boy blinded by Dumbledore's manipulations, and because of that, I strived to be more powerful than him, losing myself along the way. Dumbledore is perceived as a good guy, yet he wants rid of all the Muggles and Muggleborns in this world. He doesn't realize that we wizards started as Muggles, and if we lose Muggles, magic will be lost. There is the word that I want to kill all those who aren't pureblood. That simply isn't true. I want to protect everyone, for Lady Magic chooses who and what is magic. I never had a desire to kill. The day I went to kill you was not me. I would never kill a child of Lady Magic. I was possessed by the imperious curse by a follower of Dumbledore's army that has managed to sneak in through the throng of Death Eaters. After that day, where I died, I vowed to kill Dumbledore, for he is abusing the power Lady Magic gave us. My goal was to form an army with people who aren't blinded by the old Mons manipulations, or those I could convert after they realized what he was doing. Since a lot of my inner Death Eaters have children, I am encouraging the parents to teach their children the way of me and what I want in this world. While I understand that your parents were favoring the light, I want you to side with me. Dumbledore is using you as a weapon to kill me for when the time comes. He's trying to train you, but I am glad you have friends and staff that are teaching you the right of ways rather than the old coot. I will not pressure you into the dark, I am merely encouraging you. I want you to think about what I said. This was a lot of information to inhale. Everything that I was ever taught was a lie. I had my suspicions, but after hearing what the Dark Lord had said, I deemed them to be true. I should not trust Dumbledore any longer. I will follow in my own path, or perhaps Lord Voldemort's path. I looked up to see him walking away from me. He hasn't completed his promise. Hey, Mr. Dark Lord, you haven't fulfilled your promise? I haven't? Do tell what I am missing? The secret my mother has. He turned around and walked back towards me with a smirk playing on his lips. All right. Your mother's very dark secret. He leaned down closer to my ear and whispered what my mother's secret was. The last thing I remember was fainting. Here you all go. Almost done with year 1. It would do me a great honor if you could all read my short story, Through the Galaxies. I'm planning on turning it into an actual story, though I'm not sure, so I would greatly appreciate feedback, please. 14. Should I start adding actual titles? Harry's Pav. Fainting was all that I felt, but here I am, waking up in the hospital bed. My mother. It's impossible. I refuse to believe it, but there is always that possibility. She must have had her reasons for it. Still, I won't be able to look at her the same way ever again. Harry. Someone screamed my name out, and it was no other than my mother, with both Draco and Hermione trailing behind her. "Oh Harry, thank God you are alive. When Quirrell found you in the room with the mirror of her eyes, I thought you were dead. Don't you ever do that again, young man." So was it really Quirrell, or did Tom ask, and by ask I mean ordered Quirrell to take me to the hospital wing? I'll ask Tom later. "Apologies, Mother, but the good thing is that I'm alive, right?" Mother said nothing but glared at me. Knowing that look, I kept my mouth shut. "Harry, what made you decide to go after the stone?" Hermione asked me. Would Tom get mad at me if I told them the truth? Probably, but I could not lie to them, for eventually the truth would come out. Simple. I received an anonymous note stating I needed to get the stone for a reason. I assume it was Dumbledore who sent the note, for we all know he isn't sane. While I didn't lie mostly, I had to twist the truth so they wouldn't be scared it was Voldemort who sent me the note. Few hours later, after I was finally released from the hospital wing, the first place I went to was to see Tom. Arriving at the office, I noticed Quirrell was packing. "Professor, relax. No one is here, so you can speak normally. Why are you packing?" "My lord ordered me to retire, so I will not be teaching next year. I was also ordered to find the ingredients to bring my lord back to life. However, one of the ingredients needed is blood, specifically, your blood. While you are here, do you think you'd be willing to shed some of your blood for my lord?" I agreed. Now, knowing Dumbledore was only using me, I am willing to side with the so-called dark. With a small vial, it soon filled up with the dark red liquid. "Professor, if he has enough energy, may I speak with Tom?" "What is it, Potter?" "Just curious, did you order Quirrell to take me to the hospital wing when you could have just left me? After you took in all of the information, it seemed like you believed my words and wanted to side with me. Like I said, Dumbledore words do not define who I am or what I do. I make sure all of my allies are healthy and alive, and seeing as you are a potential ally, I could not leave you there to die. Please take the time to consider joining me. Yes, I'm aware you are willing to join me, but if you do it after I get my body back." Tom and I laughed at the little joke he made. Agreeing to his words, I wished both Quirrell and Tom luck for finding and getting Tom's body back. Final feast. It was the last feast of the year, alongside Who Won the House Cup. I was sitting in the middle of Draco and Hermione. We asked her to join us at the Slytherin table despite her house arguing against it, retelling the story of my adventures of the Chamber of Traps. They were surprised I was even alive. Soon the chattering died down as Dumbledore stood up to speak. Alas! Another year has flown by. What time well spent. Now I'm sure this is the moment everyone has been waiting for. Who won the House Cup? In fourth place, Hufflepuff with 327 points. Third is Gryffindor with 399 points. Ravenclaw for second with 435 points, and for another year in a row. Even though it was such a close call to Ravenclaw. Slytherin with 450 points. We all cheered, and I doubt anybody noticed the slight anger in Dumbledore voices, for Slytherin won now 8 years in a row. End of the night. After the delicious feast, we all went back to our rooms to pack. Well, me helping Draco pack until I got a note from my mother asking me to pack my stuff. For the first time, Dumbledore told my mother to leave the castle so she can have a break with me. No doubt to release his anger. But finally I get to see the McGonagall Manor that my mother has been mentioning throughout all my life, longing to go back. As much as I love my mother, what Tom told me really changed my views about her and is starting to make me doubt her. I do not want these feelings to linger in me, so once we are alone, I'm going to ask my mother for some confirmation if what Tom said was true. 15. T. Surprise. Another chapter. And its very first plot twist, or another cliffhanger. And maybe another later tonight. Also McGonagall Manor above. Warning. Swearing Harry's POV. Soon as everyone left to go to the train, I stayed back at the castle waiting for my mother to finish packing her stuff. While I was waiting, I was chatting with Uncle Sev. "Hey Uncle, will you be visiting Mother and I over the summer?" "Of course, who else is going to teach you potions?" "Really, you're going to teach me to make potions? Don't I already know how to do that?" "5th year potions this time." "Okay, I'm back in now." I joked to Severus, to which he laughed at me, complaining mostly, "I really just want to have a relaxing summer rather than all the professors teach me like normally, but why am I not surprised? No doubt my mother is going to teach me more of transfigurations." Oh dear, I don't have much time left, I now have to go to a meeting scheduled with Dumbledore. If I don't see you, have a wonderful summer and I shall see you one of these days. Bye, Uncle. Good luck with the meeting. I saw my uncle out of the Slytherin common room. I looked around the room and it wasn't long for finally my mother came in explaining she was ready to go. So I grabbed my trunk and the two of us were soon walking outside of Hogwarts. Harry, hold on to my arm and for the love of Merlin, don't let go this time. I rolled my eyes at my mother, only twice did I slip up and broke my arms. 'Cause I wasn't holding my mother tight enough. Feeling that familiar feeling of getting sucked into a tube, we land in front of a very very old manor, unlike the Malfoy Manor which seemed more modern. Welcome to the McGonagall Manor, Harry. Our house is one of the oldest in the wizarding world, just like our vaults in Gringotts. Remember what I said about names and ages in Gringotts? The older the name, the further down the vault is. Please let me be right? Correct. As I've said before in one of our tea time, the McGonagall is almost old as the founders. We're after all, only 2 floors above the goblins. The founders were the first ones to establish a trust among the goblins, hence they allied and agreed to run the bank. Usually the older names have more trust among the goblins, which is why you see the goblins treating me more with respect than, let's say, the Weasleys. The Weasley name isn't near the bottom of the bank, therefore the goblins don't have a reason to trust them as much as me. Huh, I did not know our vault was only 2 floors above the founders of Hogwarts. Wait, so does that mean? Mother, does that mean I'll end up inheriting the McGonagall vault and all of its treasures in it? Yes, once I pass away, you'll become heir to the vault. Right now, I am Lady McGonagall to all the noble pure-blooded families. When I do pass and you inherit everything, you'll become Lord McGonagall. Of course, that is if you decide to take my name, as you are, of course, a Potter by blood. I never thought about that, plus I never knew that my mother was very high up in the Wizarding Society. After a moment of silence, this time I really took in the manor and was awed by its beauty. I was snapped out of looking at the manor by 5 pops. 5 house elves wearing uniforms, with slight different colors, were all waiting for my mother's orders. Ah, hello. It's been a long time since I haven't seen you guys. Let me introduce you to my son, Harry. These are the house elves for the McGonagall Manor. Going by the order in line, we have Artemis, ruby red uniformed, Belinda, pastel pink uniformed, Karina, lilac uniformed, Dorado, sunset orange, and my personal elf, Celine. Do any of you guys know an elf that needs rescuing? Celine, the green uniformed elf, replied. Mistress, there is one elf that was recently abandoned not too long ago. Celine saw it wandering but made no effort of communication. Celine, bring that elf here. I believe Harry will need a personal elf. Yes, mistress. Celine shall do that, be right back. And she left with a pop, and not even 30 seconds in she came back with an elf wearing rags and looking sad, but there was hope in its eyes. You there? Celine tells me you were abandoned, is this true? Yes, miss. I am Co. And my master had died with no children to take me in. I search far and wide for a master but no one wants me. Well, Co, my son, Harry needs a personal elf. Would you be willing to work her at the McGonagall Manor and serve as a personal elf for Harry? Co would be honored. Would Harry accept, Co? The elf asked me so suddenly as I was still trying to grasp what was going on. Of course I am very familiar with the house elves. I never thought I'd have one myself. Making sure it was all right with my mother, I saw her nod telling me it was fine. Yes, Co. I'd be happy to have you as my elf. Dorado stepped forward and snapped his fingers. Standing before me was no longer an elf wearing rags and looking sad. It was now a teal uniformed elf holding his head up high, ready to work. Come along everyone, we have all had quite the day, and soon, all of us were heading towards the manor. Now it's August. I still can't stop thinking about what Tom said about my mother. I mean, is what he says is true, then I need to confront my mother about it soon. Luckily today was one of those days where my mother is attending a social event somewhere in the world and I cannot join her, and because it's a social event, she will not be here for a few days, so instead, Uncle Sev is coming to teach me, as well as stay with me, for mother does not trust me being in this house all by myself. Now Harry, I want you on your best behavior, for I am leaving you home alone for a few hours. Yes, Mom, I already know the drill. You've said it at least 100 times this week. Just making sure, you can never be too careful. I rolled my eyes and gave my mother a hug while wishing her luck. Once she was gone, I waiting for about an hour just to confirm she won't be coming back. Now this goes against all of my morals, but I need to know. I broke into my mother's room and started rummaging through her stuff, making sure to put them back the way they belong so she won't notice. I was about to give up hope when I remembered something. Mom always has medicine with her tea. Now looking for the medicine, I find it next to the teapot in her room. I opened the bottle and smelled it. I had an idea on what the smell was, but I wanted Uncle Sev to confirm. Next to the teapot, there was a chest which I opened and saw the same bottles containing the word medicine. I opened them all and they all smell the same. I kept the bottle with me so when I go see Uncle Severus, he can help me. Waiting in the living room, he finally came. Uncle Sev. Harry. I missed you. Haha. I missed you too. However, before you start teaching me a potion, I want you to smell this. I gave him the tiny vial I had in my pocket and gave it to him. I have an idea on what this is, but I wanted you to confirm. He opened the vial and brought it to his nose. He had a look of confusion. This is. Why, this is polyjuice potion. Where did you get this, Harry? So he confirmed it. Why would my mother have polyjuice potion? Do you remember how I landed in the hospital wing after Professor Quirrell brought me back? Well, before that, I had to go through the chamber of traps to get the Philosopher's Stone. When I made it to the last trap, Professor Quirrell was waiting for me there. Professor Quirrell had the Dark Lord hiding behind his turban and wanted to talk to me, so we talked, and you can now say I'm on the dark side after hearing his reasons. And don't lie to me, Sev. I know you are on the dark side, but that's not the point. The point is, Tom told me a dark secret about my mother, and it has been in my mind for months now. I've been meaning to ask my mom about it, but I can never find the courage to. So I looked for her so-called medicine, and you confirmed my suspicions. What the Dark Lord told me was, your mother isn't who she looks like or says she is. She is a rather different person and is using polyjuice potion to fool the world. I didn't want to believe him, but now it seems like I have no choice. That's quite the story, but I believe you, seeing as I am holding the potion myself. If I were to take a sip of this potion, no doubt I'd become McGonagall, but the question is, who is posing as McGonagall? We have no choice but to wait for them to come back. When said person come back, can you be here to protect me just in case they attack? Of course, Harry. I'd do anything for you. Few days later. Like promised, Uncle Sev stayed here until my mother. I heard the sounds of her apparating and the house elves greeting her. Hello, Harry. I missed you dearly. Here, I brought you a little gift from Venice. Thank you, Mother. How are you feeling? I'm slightly tired, but nothing tea can't fix. Care to join me? Perfect. Why not, Mother? Tea sounds lovely. I do have something I need to talk to you about anyway. We both walked into the kitchen with Severus following closely under my invisible cloak. I also took all of my mother's medicine, so they would have no choice but to tell me the truth. Thankfully for us, the tea room was right next to mine and my mother's room. As the elves prepped the tea for us, my mother suddenly exclaimed that she needed to get her medicine. Without making a sound, I follow her into the bedroom where she was cornered. She did not hear me or Severus walking in, thankfully. Now where the hell is the potion? God damn it, don't tell me Co moved it. I thought I told the elves to teach him everything. Fuck. Fuck me. Where is that bloody chest? Looking for this, Mother. The person playing as McGonagall spun around and saw me with the chest of potions. Harry, why do you have my medicine chest? Oh come on, I'm not that stupid. You knew I'd eventually find out, so spill. Who are you? I had my wand out and was at the door frame. Severus shoved me, so he was in front of me to protect me if something were to happen. Harry, you leave me no choice but to do this. Oblivate, Protega. My uncle unveiled himself and protected me, which now meant I cannot see anything in front of me. Why must I be so sure? I don't know who you are, but if anything, Harry deserves answers, and I won't deny it either. I'm curious myself. Severus, please. I have my reasons for why I cannot show myself to you guys, so I need the potion. No. Tell us the truth. Severus, please. The voice started to change. The potion was wearing off. I can hear the wearer running around, trying to find a hiding place. Oh no, you don't. Stalcantress, sticking charm incantation is unknown, so I made it up. After Severus stuck the wearer down, I heard nothing until Severus gasped and dropped his wand. No, it can't be. It's impossible. 16 T-A-N at bottom if you wish to read. So now it's dreary, Severus ex Lucius. Please give me a ship for our precious Hermione, she needs love too. McGonagall Pov. I do not remember what happened. All I remembered was getting hit with some sort of spell and passing out in Hogwarts. I do not know how long it's been, but when I've awoken, everyone was gone. The last I recall that happened was Harry and his friends going through our traps to collect the stone. The person who hit me had fiery red hair. I know for a fact that the Weasleys were not put up to that. Even though the Weasley family will be the death of me, they wouldn't go far to attacking a professor. But I cannot place a name on the redhead. I did not even get a look at their face. For all I know, I could be imagining the redhead. Harry. Oh no. If everyone in this castle had left, that could only mean it was the end of the year and Harry is with someone who is not me. I rushed to Severus' office for he has mentioned that someone was stealing from his potions lab. I needed to confirm if said potion is what it is. Slamming his classroom door open, I go through all of his potions and my suspicions were true. All of the polyjuice was gone. I need to send a letter to Severus regarding the real me. Would there be any owls here though? Albus. Maybe he is here. Minevera? Someone called out to me. I turned but saw no one. Up here, ma'am. I looked up and it was the paintings. Hello, is there something I can help you with? Yes. Why are you still here, Professor? Everyone has gone, including Dumbledore. Oh no, I was knocked out by a spell. Tell me, is my son safe? Last I know, Severus was with him at your manor. He stopped by the castle to give Harry one of the potions book. At least he's with Severus. Thank you, sir. I shall be heading to my manor. I rushed to my office towards the fireplace and screamed out my manor. Tumbling through, all I heard was Severus saying something was impossible. Rushing to his voice, I see Harry was behind him. Harry, mother? Is that you? Yes, Harry, it's me. Prove it. Your first words were Uncle Sev. It is you. When I hung out with Fake You and asked that question, she said my first words were, Dada, what happened to you? Long story, but first, who is here? What is going on? Someone started transforming to their normal self after Polyjuice has worn out. Severus, who is it? Someone who should be dead but is not. Who? Lily Potter. Okay, sorry, it's short. It's more of a filler chapter. These 2 months have been quite hectic, but now things are settling down. Now that summer is nearing, I'll be trying to update more often. Should I do a Q&A? If so, leave questions. It can be about me or the story or whatever. If you guys want me to do a Q&A, I'll even put in a face reveal. For I've been hiding myself for the last 5/6 of a year on this app. Also, congratulations to class of 2020. We did it. We survived. Yes, that includes me. I'm a graduate of the pandemic. Laughing face. 15 Some info, facts may be changed for the sake of the story. McGonagall Pov. After the whole fiasco with my son, I decided to take him out of Hogwarts for the summer to go to my manor. Thankfully I didn't have to ask the headmaster as he told me to leave Hogwarts with Harry. It has been so long since I've been home. Ever since I took Harry away from those vile creatures, I've resorted to staying at Hogwarts for it was easier for me to check on him. Now that he is older, he can have more freedom and peace to do whatever he pleased to do at home. Home. Such a strange word to consider. Hogwarts is my home, but this ancient manor is also home, and Harry is my home as well. Nevertheless, seeing my son's reaction to the manor was wonderful. Harry, welcome to McGonagall Manor. Now I know it is not as big or extravagant as Malfoy Manor, but I assure you that there is enough space here to give you freedom. This is clearly the entrance to the manor. Once we are inside, you'll find 5 floors. The main floor, the residency floor, the astronomy tower, the basement, and lastly, the dungeons. We have an astronomy tower? I certainly wasn't expecting him to ask that. I was expecting a dungeon question. Yes, Harry, it's not the same as the one at Hogwarts. Dare I say I prefer my tower compared to Hogwarts. It is much more comfy than the castles. I'm surprised you didn't ask about the dungeons. Well, Malfoy Manor has dungeons, and I heard from Blaze, Pansy, and Theo that at their manors, they all have dungeons as well, so I assumed that from a long line of purebloods, they would all have dungeons in their homes. But you're half-blood, aren't you? Yes, however unlike. For example, the Malfoys, the McGonagall family has been more accepting of who you can get together with. My mother fell in love with a Muggle, my father, and had me and my younger brothers. Whom you'll meet in due time. Did you ever get married? Yes, I did. However, he died in an accident before you were born. You were born in 1980, whereas my husband died in 1975. He was a great man. I have a photo album inside the manor somewhere. I'll tell you stories that would have been your father if he was still alive today. Elphinstone Urquhart. Oh, how I miss you dearly. Are you proud of me? Are you okay with the fact I took in the Potter's son and raised him as my own? How I wish I could talk to you once more. Mother, who are your brothers? All right, I forgot I told him he'll be meeting his uncle. I have two brothers. Unfortunately, one of them died by Death Eaters in the first Wizarding one. His name was Robert McGonagall Jr., named after my father. My other brother who is still alive and will meet is Malcolm McGonagall. Now I believe we have been outside for quite a while, given we have walked past the garden 3 times by now. Let us go in so you can settle at home now. When will I meet Uncle Malcolm, and may I tend to the garden while I am here? If you wish, I can send a letter to my brother requesting him to come this week and spend time with you. I'm sure he will be delighted to meet you at last. Don't worry, I told him all the good stuff about you. And of course you can tend to the gardens. We also have a Quidditch pitch further down the hill. If you noticed, there was a hill past the garden. You may bring your friends over here to spend time with you and of course, practice your Quidditch skills. Wicked. I am for sure going to spend most of my time at the pitch. Don't forget to do your homework, mister. Yes, mother. Now, come on, we mustn't keep the elves waiting for us. Oh Harry, how you're going to be the death of me. 16 Some facts will be changed for the sake of the story. Harry's Pov. It's been a few days since I've been here, and there is only one word that can describe this place. Home. Yes, Hogwarts is my home, but it was always shared. Shared by students, teachers, and even guests. So now that I have a home with just my mother, it's a brand new experience. I try to spend every day outside, just practicing on my Quidditch skills and tending to the gardens, but right now, it's breathtaking to see the manor. Standing, I can never get enough of it. It is beautiful, isn't it? It's amazing it's still here. I jumped as if I was a cat. Probably shouldn't be making that joke. Who knows if my mother has actually jumped that high? Probably. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to scare you. You must be Harry. I turned to look at this mysterious voice. There was only one person who had similar features as my mother. And you must be Malcolm. Yes, I am. Much like you. I can never get enough of this manor. Still takes my breath away every time I come home. By the way, where is Min Min? Min Min? Oh, my mother. She's inside, which reminds me, it is almost time for tea with her. Let us both go to her. Malcolm was a tall man, roughly 6 feet 1 inch compared to my mother's 5 feet 5 inches. However, unlike mother's gray hair, due to the stress of teaching me, he still has his black hair with only streak of gray running through. He also seems to be younger, around 50 if I were to guess. Much like my mother, he does not seem like a man you want to cross. Min Min. Guess who's home? Dramatic much? Come in, Malcolm. Is Harry with you? Yes, Min, he is. We both walk in to see my mother setting the teapot on the table. Min minimum mini. And I thought I was dramatic. Malcolm, do shut your mouth. Harry, I made your favorite tea so that you'd be relaxed with my overly chattermouth brother. Thank you, mother. Let us have a seat. And thus did Malcolm become Uncle Malcolm. 17 facts will be changed for the sake of the story. Malcolm Pov. Home sweet home. Time to annoy the sister. I took a port key to get to the manor, for flow or apparition would be much harder given I live in Rome, Italy. The distance between Scotland and Italy is quite far. Regardless, I am meeting her son today. Still mad at Dumbledore for not letting me into Hogwarts to meet him for the past 11 years. But, I am here now and quite nervous. I walk to the gates and let myself in. Thank God the wards are up and recognize me. I keep walking to the door when I spot something small in the distance moving. Walking closer, I see that it is a boy. Harry perhaps? I noticed he's looking. No, staring at the house. I can't blame him, even I am like that with the manor. After the small introduction, we both walk inside to find my sister. Walking through the halls brings back memories. One particular section brought me back to a memory of when Minerva comforted me after my first breakup. Flashback, Mal. Are you okay? I heard what happened with that girl. Delilah, my first girlfriend, I made sure to give her the world yet she goes and cheats on me for some scumbag. Minnie, don't just stand behind my door, mayn as well come in. I love Minerva, she is the best older sister I could ask for. My sweet Malcolm, don't let yourself be down over some stupid girl, besides, you deserve much better. Min always knows what to say, you really think so? Yes my sweets, besides, you are young so I wouldn't worry too much, you'll find your true love one day. Now, let's take advantage of this. Chocolate mother gave you. Flashback over that was the day when I knew I could truly rely on my sister. Granted that breakup was when I was 12 years old and she was 16 but her and I were never close until that day. She was always closer with our younger brother, Robert. May he always rest in peace. We walk in and there is my lovely sister, beautiful as always, despite her having more grays than me. Of course I had to shout her nickname, it was the best way to annoy her. And per usual, she shuts me down. So Harry, how do you like my younger brother Malcolm? I am quite interested in seeing what he has to say. I just met him mother, I do not know what I think of him yet, fair enough. So while we're having tea, let us play a simple, get-to-know-each-other game. This would also be a challenge for your mother, see if she remembers anything about me. I really hope she does remember something, I'm only 4 years older than you. Still older than me. Alright. Let's start off simple, what house are you in Harry? Slytherin. The house couldn't decide on Ravenclaw, Gryffindor or Slytherin, in the end it best decided Slytherin was for me. I see, I was placed in Ravenclaw though I could never match up to your mother, she was always much more smarter than me. My turn. What do you do for a living? I am a cursebreaker for the Italian Gringotts. Italian. You live in Italy? I've always wanted to go there but you know, we stayed at Hogwarts so we could never go anywhere. Much like your mother, you're always welcome to stay at my residence. Even though we are not purebloods, we as the McGonagall family have many estates across the world and are filthy rich. You know the story about trust among goblins, correct? Older the name, further down the vault, meaning more trust is among us. Correct, Minerva. I'm surprised you haven't taught him this? He never asked. Anyways Harry. The McGonagall line is very old, our father may not have been a wizard but he was indeed a squib. He was a second-born child so he did not have very many benefits compared to his brother however that did not make him any different in our grandparents' eyes. They made sure that both got benefits in the world. Our father inherited a seat on the Wizengamot and all of the estates across the world. He was also an astronomer and an alchemist. He may have not magic, but he could study whatever he could and found passion in those two subjects. He was also a friend of the goblins. Just like me and my sister, now including you since you are a McGonagall. How old is our family? Like if you were to tell me which level our vault is on, I would be able to understand. Eager to learn, a very good trait for representing our family Harry, I'm liking you more and more. To put it simply, the first floor is goblins which is given, the second floor is the founders which again is a given, we are roughly on the third floor. Alongside other old families. Because our lines go so far back, there's no doubt that our ancestors were once a friend of the founders. It is true, our ancestors were very close to Rowena Ravenclaw which is why majority of us were placed there with a few exceptions. Wow. No wonder the goblins treated my mother as if she was royalty, though when they looked at me, it was almost as if they were hesitant to treat me the same. It must be because you still have the Potter blood in you. You may have taken up the McGonagall name however you do not have the direct line. Minerva, have you ever thought of blood adoption for Harry? At one point when he was a baby I was going to take him in for blood adoption until I realized it should be his choice to make. I never really brought it up for I felt it was not the time yet. He is going to be turning 12 soon. Harry, how would you feel if we did a blood adoption on you so you could get our family benefits as well and just not the Potter and Evans only? If he accepts the blood adoption, he would immediately become more of a McGonagall and the goblins would be more accepting of him. If I did that, would I essentially be merging both my birth mother and birth father's blood with my own mother? Yes, I could also merge my own blood as well if you wished to have a more distinctive feature. The blood adoptions will change some features for you are inheriting us as a family. I would like to take on the blood adoption, however, I do not wish to take in your blood, just my mother's. I'd like to keep some of the Potter features on me. Then it is decided, you'll officially be blood related to us. Little brother, if I may. Would it be possible to do the blood adoption at the Italian Gringotts instead of here in Britain? If Dumbledore were to find out what we were doing, there is no doubt that he will try to stop this. Why would Dumbledore try to stop this? He is the leader of the light, he should support you in this. Dumbledore isn't what he seems to be. He used to be the leader for the light, but something corrupted him, it changed him completely. I know his intentions with Harry and he wants to kill my son. Then take the Potter and Evans fortunes and claim that he killed you know who. I cannot let that happen. Have you told him? Excuse me? You know what I said? Have you told him? No, I haven't. Sister, you cannot hide this from him. He needs to know what side you are on. I can't tell him, Malcolm. I do not want to see what he thinks of me if I showed him. He'll find me ugly, a monster. He wouldn't want me to be his mother anymore. Malcolm, you've got to understand why I don't want to show him. He's my son, the only one I have. I don't want to lose him just yet. Heavens knows what Dumbledore has rigged his mind to be. Oh dear, she's hyperventilating. I'm going to get Severus and bring him a few potions. Harry, watch your mother. I rushed out of the room to find the nearest fireplace with Flo. It took me a few moments, but I found it. Spinner's ends. I hate wizarding transportation. I landed in a dark living room and quickly wiped the ashes off of my clothes. Severus. Are you in here? Potions Labs. I rushed to the basement and almost broke the door off of its hinges. Severus. My sister. She needs potions now. What kind of potions? A calming draught for sure, anything that can calm her down and rest peacefully. Or something that won't make her sick. I've never been good at potions. You go back to her, I'll grab potions that I think are required, make sure she is still breathing. I quickly go back home and I see Harry performing CPR. Malcolm. She fainted all of a sudden and her breathing stopped. I've managed to get her heart beating again, and while she's not taking proper breaths, she is slightly breathing again. Thank Merlin Harry was there to save her. Harry. Put her up a bit. I have potions required to heal her. Severus pulled out a few potions and managed to get my sister in a stable position. We moved her to her own bedroom so she would not be uncomfortable. If it wasn't for Harry, I don't think I would have been able to cope with her loss. Malcolm. What was Mother was trying not to show me? Do you wish to see it for yourself? The silence we all had was painful. Yes. Severus looked at me with wary eyes, knowing that what I could show him may change his views on his mother. I pulled up my sister's right sleeve and on her arm was a full sleeve tattoo, with a very special tattoo hiding amongst all the others that I have as well. Would you both believe me if I said I knew what she was already? He knew? How did you know? Let's just say a little birdie told me. Do you accept it? Merlin, please let him accept this. Of course I do. She's still my mother. Minerva, you truly raised an amazing son. Then you have no problems with us, you know. Not a single problem. In fact, I'm slightly proud to be related to you guys. Well, soon be blood related. Malcolm, Harry, Minerva is going to be out for at least a week given she had a near-death experience. Do you wish to move her into the Italian residence, since I'm assuming you'll be doing blood adoption on my nephew here, and to keep her away from Dumbledore's prying eyes? I forgot Severus was here. Would it be safe to move her? If it is via Flo, then yes. As long as you are holding her tight and don't let go, then she will be fine. Then we shall go to the Italian residence at once. Care to join us, Severus? Please say yes. I don't know what to do if something goes wrong. I don't want to impose. Uncle Sev, you would not be imposing on us. In fact, it would be more beneficial if you were there, for you are the closest thing we have to a healer, you know. Thank you, Harry. I am a registered nurse, you brat. Why do you think Poppy always asks me to make her potions? She may be a healer, but she is horrendous at potions, and since I'm a potions master, a nurse is the highest I could register for. Interesting. Well, you never told me you were a nurse. I can't see you being a nurse, you know, especially with your bad attire. Regardless, Malcolm, do you want me to take your sister or do you want to do it yourself? Which would be safer? In a normal circumstance, it would be the healer, but since we don't have one, I'll do it, but go ahead of me so you can prep and perhaps change your wards, if you have any. The key word is Italian McGonagall. Fair point. The wards only register to anyone who is a direct McGonagall. I immediately leave to change the wards. A few minutes after changing them, I hear the whoosh from the fire and I see Severus stepping out and putting my sister on her bed with potions on the nightstand. Seconds later come out Harry. Welcome to Rome, Harry. Once we get your mother, Severus and yourself settled in, I'll take you on a tour, then finally to Gringotts to be adopted. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you for doing this, you didn't have to. Harry, I see the way you look at your mother, you love and adore her to infinity and beyond, just as much as she loves you to infinity. Of course, Harry, she is my sister, my best friend and your mother. I would never leave her to suffer alone, never mind allow her to die. If Minerva died, I do not know how I'd able to cope with myself as well. While I may not be close to you, Malcolm, she is my best friend at Hogwarts and I'll do everything in my power to heal her and have her up and scolding us again. Thank you both, Uncle Sev and Malcolm, without you both, I don't know what I'd do. Harry, your family now, so no more, Malcolm, start calling me Uncle or Mal. Okay. Uncle Malcolm. Good enough. Now while Min rests, let me give you guys a tour of the Italian McGonagall Manor. Little did I know that both Harry and Severus were going to change my life after today. 18 There will be 3 new characters in this chapter. I have not yet decided if they'll appear in the future or not. Harry's Pav. It's been 3 days since Mother has fainted. She has not woken up, but with Uncle Sev taking care of her, I have no doubts that when she awakens, she'll feel much better. In the meantime, myself and Uncle Malcolm have gotten much closer. There is no doubt he is for sure on my list of trust. Granted, while I have a lot of family, friends and acquaintances, only a few make it to the top of my list. Those who make it on my list, I trust them to make any decisions on my behalf, and I trust them with my life. My entire life. Walking along the halls in the Italian Manor, out of nowhere I hear my uncle shout. Harry, before you disappeared to somewhere, 'cause Merlin knows how long it took me to find you, will you meet me in the informal dining room with Severus at 11 o'clock to discuss something? I wonder what the discussion is about, 11 in the morning or at night? Night, since Severus has a late meeting with Headmaster Dumbledore. A meeting with Dumbledore should not take that long. All right. See you later tonight, Uncle. I continue walking along the many halls in this manor when I hear another voice out of nowhere. Is that the boy Malcolm talked about throughout these years? Must be given he called Malcolm, Uncle. He's a beautiful kid, no doubt that as he grows older, he'll be much handsome. You're right, Minerva, Harry will indeed be a really handsome man. Do not overlook the fact that he will also be a very powerful wizard, Amelia. Frederick. There's no need to bring up power, however I cannot disagree with you. I do feel the power radiating off of this young man. Why'd I get the feeling I am being stared at now? Portraits, there weren't there back in Scotland. Excuse me, you guys are talking about me? 3 portraits, all of them are elderly. Just who are they? Ah, Harry, we didn't think you were actually listening to us. Kind of hard not to when your name shows up. Please excuse Frederick's outburst. I am Amelia Clarence née McGonagall. I am Minerva McGonagall, and the man beside me is my husband, Frederick McGonagall. I am your great-grandmother. Fred being your great-grandfather and Amelia being your great-aunt. Great-grandparents and aunt? What about my grandparents? If you're wondering about your grandparents Isabel and Robert, they do not have portraits, sadly. Robert was understandable, but Isabel died before she could get a portrait done. May my daughter rest in peace. That makes sense. After all, Grandpa Robert is a Muggle. What about my great-uncle though? My husband too was a Muggle, therefore he couldn't get his portrait done. Do they have legilimency skills? Yes, we do, Harry. I'm surprised you don't have THT skill. Almost all McGonagalls are gifted with it. Really? Key word being almost. Your mother and grandmother could never pick up on it. My wife almost couldn't grasp it, but thankfully she did. A few other family members could never grasp it, but that doesn't mean they were defenseless. Every McGonagall is phenomenal in occlumency, though it's clear no one has yet taught you. I've lived at Hogwarts all of my life, so I guess being protected by the school meant I never had to worry about outsiders. Well, twist my arms. Please don't take off your cloak. Is that professor still there? Professor Dumbledore? Yes, Sir Frederick. He's now known as Headmaster Dumbledore, leader of the light. Yet Mom said something about having different intentions or something. She's right. Do not trust him. We may just be portraits, but I remember him growing up in Hogwarts. I used to be the charms professor. For the first 2 years he was a delight until that Grindelwald boy came. Then something changed in him completely. I will say, throughout my years of teaching, Dumbledore is the only student that I have ever been terrified of. Now that Miss Amelia mentions it, I have noticed my mother and Uncle Sev steering me away from the headmaster when I was younger. Now that I am a student, it is practically unavoidable. Granted, that was a long time ago. I heard for a while after him and Grindelwald spilt their ways, he turned into a great leader for the light until very recently. At least that's what Malcolm told me. Yes, Mom did mention something corrupted him recently, causing him to go back dark or whatever it is he was before when you taught him. Stay clear of him, Harry. I would hate to see my nephew get destroyed. On top of the nephew thing, please call me Aunt Amelia. We are, after all, family. Aunt Amelia, that has a nice ring to it. Much like Amelia, call me Grandma Min, and my husband, Grandpa Fred. If you get mad at what he says, then feel free to call him Grandpa Frederick. I hate it when they call me by my full name. Then don't say stupid things, Fred. Grandma Min and Grandpa Fred. My grandparents, and my Aunt Amelia. My aunt. My family. I believe we took up a lot of your time, young man. No doubt you want to get back to adventuring. Feel free to come by whenever you want. Thank you, Grandpa Fred. It was nice meeting you all. I will come back here to talk to you guys again. With that, I was back to adventuring, just like Grandpa Fred said. There will be another chapter tomorrow along with another twisted chapter, so surprise. I also have uploaded a Q&A and chat book for those who wish to ask questions or to simply chat with me. Yes, I'll actually respond. 19 Severus Pav. I was enjoying my evening with my Italian food and a book on hand when an owl begun to viciously tap on my window. Getting up to acknowledge the messenger, I see my name written in bad cursive and immediately groan in annoyance. After giving the owl a treat and sending it on its way, I proceed to open and dread for what I have to do this evening. Thankfully, I sent Malcolm a message earlier today stating I would be able to come to the Italian residence later at night, for I was brewing potions all day, which I now have to stop. Dear Severus, the first apologize to impose on you during this time, but it is urgent for you to come to Hogwarts. I must discuss something very important with you that simply cannot be delayed. Please come as soon as possible, Headmaster Dumbledore. I finished my dinner and go to my flow that would directly take me to his office. How I dread this conversation. Severus, my boy, so glad you can come on such short notice, bastard. You forced me come to your office to chat with you during dinner. Well, yes. It is regarding Mr. Potter here. McGonagall. You know that's not his name. Yes, it is Severus. I only refer to him as McGonagall when Minerva is there so she doesn't cut of my head. I want to see that firsthand. Hopefully she does that. I really do hope so. What seems to be the problem with Mr. McGonagall? I believe it's time for the staff to start treating him as he was meant to be. You mean a pawn in your sick game of try to beat the Dark Lord, correct? He is not a pawn, Severus, merely the chosen one. In the story you have created in your mind, sir, and why are you telling me this? What about the rest of the staff? I have tried to convince them. They all outwardly went against that thought. Phileas almost went to use every single charm he had in mind at me. Thankfully, if it weren't for Pomona restraining him, I'd probably be covered in hexes. Damn you, Pomona. You are the only one left, and I'd feel like you can convince them to treat Mr. Potter as the chosen one. All right, Headmaster, I'll try my best to convince them. Thank you, Severus. This means a lot for the future. I really do hate him. Anything else, Headmaster? Yes. I heard from Sybil that Harry might be taking a blood adoption procedure. Is that true? How could she possibly know? There is no way that women has made an actual prediction since that one prophecy. I do not know, Headmaster. I only go to the McGonagall residence to teach Harry potions. I do not know of the life after I leave. Very well, the next time you go there, ask Mr. Potter and see what he says. I cannot have him taking a blood adoption procedure. Why is that, Headmaster? It doesn't affect you, not directly, but it still affects the future given that the prophecy would no longer be targeted towards him as he would not be of Potter blood. Which is what I need in order for him to defeat Voldemort. What you need? Yes, what I need for the greater good for the wizarding world. Why? Because if he becomes an actual McGonagall, the power of the Potters will decline in him, And I need him to be powerful in order to take down Tom. You really are stupid. Have you ever thought of the fact that maybe he does not want to take down the Dark Lord? He must. He has no choice, so please, do not let him take a blood ritual or potion or whatever it is. Then damn it, I'm going to make sure he gets it done. Consider it done, Headmaster. I shall try my best. Not. Anything else that is required, or may I leave? One more thing, my boy. I will personally give Minerva a sword to watch her chop off your head and see it roll on the ground. What is it now? Lemon drop. You've got to be kidding me. No, all right. That is all, my boy. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. I bowed my head and left to the flow that'll take me home. From there, I took a portkey back to Italy. Ah, Severus. You're early. It's only 10:30. Yes, which gives you 30 minutes till our meeting with Harry. Which reminds me, why'd I need to be here to talk with Harry, and what exactly are we discussing? His blood adoption. He'll definitely look to you for advice on what to do. And we know of his future as the chosen one, because he has the Potter blood, which leads me to another idea. What idea is that? We know you have no partner and no kids, so how would you feel about merging your blood with ours so he could essentially become your heir? It would help both in power if you two were to mix the McGonagall blood and whatever your blood is, sir. I can feel that you are powerful as well. It would help Harry if he had Potter, McGonagall and yours. Who on earth is that? Apologizes Severus, please meet my Aunt Amelia. He pointed at the wall, and that's when I realized, portraits. Hello ma'am, I am Severus Snape, potions master and potions professor at Hogwarts. A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Snape. Malcolm, if you don't mind, would you allow me, Minerva and Fred, to join in on this conversation with Harry? Would that be all right with you, Severus? I do not mind. Wonderful. I shall let the others know and join you soon. Where are we joining? The informal dining room, Auntie. See you both there soon. I watched her figure retreat when I look back at Malcolm. You would want to mix my blood with your family solely to protect Harry? Yes. We all know what the three most powerful magics is, correct? No, I do not. Was I supposed to be taught this, or did I miss this in Hogwarts? Of course you wouldn't know. Dumbledore changed the whole curriculum when you were younger. So are you going to tell me? The three most powerful magic in the world is family magic, soulmate magic and mother's love. Family magic is the primary focus of this meeting tonight. Soulmates exist? Yes, they do, but that'll be a discussion for another time. Can you stop entering my head? How are you even doing that? My occlumency shields are up completely. Haha, sorry. Legilimency is a gifted trait among us McGonagalls. It comes naturally to us, so we can enter one's mind regardless of how strong your shields are. How fascinating. Perhaps I can learn from them. We'd be happy to teach you. Though do not think you can get into our minds. While we're gifted at Legilimency, occlumency isn't acquired for us, but when we are taught on it, we pick it up pretty fast, making us phenomenal with our mind shields. Now I want to learn. Let's make our way to the dining room. We spent a lot of time here. Our legs need a rest from all of this standing. I followed him to the room with two thoughts lingering in my mind. Would Harry accept being my heir? Do I have a soulmate out there? 17. T. To my new readers, T means twisted, as in a twisted chapter. More info at the end. Warnings. Swearing, torture, rape. Lily's Pav. I've been caught. I thought I would be able to get away with it, but I should have known better. Severus, Harry, Minerva, I know this is quite a shock. Damn right it's a shock. You're supposed to be dead, Lily. That hurts, Sev. I know, but let me explain what truly happened. Seeing as we were not going anywhere and my son rushes to Minerva for protection, I feel hurt, but I understand. It all started when Tom was supposedly about to come to Godric's Hollow to kill us, but we all know that was a lie. It was in fact Dumbledore who came to try and kill us. James managed to stall him at the cost of his life. I am forever grateful he did that to protect our son. I took a deep breath and continued on thinking of what that bastard had done to me. When Dumbledore approached me and Harry, I was prepared to fight him with my life. If it wasn't for Tom showing up and having a duel, I somehow got knocked out in the process, and next thing you know, I am in Hogwarts dungeons for the last 12 years. That would have been impossible. Slytherins live in the dungeons. Harry or other snakes, including myself, would have been able to find you. You are right, Severus, except you forgot one fact. You guys are in the Slytherin dungeons. There are dungeons for Hufflepuff, Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. I was never in the Slytherin dungeons. Then where were you? I do not know. I was constantly transferred between the three to have less chances of me being found. Only once did 2 students find me. I cannot forgive what the bastard did to those 2 students. Was it a student recently, entered in Harry's year, or was it before Harry? It was before Harry. It was when Harry was 2 years old. I was in one of the dungeons when 2 lovesick teenagers found a make-out spot. Luckily for me, the girl noticed someone being captured against their will and came to my aid. They were very nice students, healed all of my physical wounds and told me about Harry. The memories of them are flooding back. I am sorry, my dears. They visited me for the entire month I was in the dungeon until I was once again moved. Dumbledore being the headmaster means he has power of the school, and one thing I forgot was that he sent portraits to watch me. The portraits had no choice but to report what was going on. Their screams. Please make them stop. When I moved, Dumbledore brought the 2 students with him. From there he threw in the boy in the jail cell with me, and out came 3 more boys, who were clearly underneath deep love potions for the girl. Dumbledore forced the boys to do whatever with the girl, and in this case, they ripped her of her purity. Dumbledore subjected the boy to torture. My magic was drained. I couldn't help them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Once the fun had ended, he brutally killed them all on the spot. For a month I had to live with their deceased bodies. The look on their face is enough to break anyone. Another student found me and rescued me out of the prison I was forced in. I forgot what the student name was, but he was clever enough to do it. When the portraits were sleeping, remind me to thank him when the war is over. I knocked out McGonagall and placed her in her own closet and acted as her for 2 months. As I was skilled in potions, I made polyjuice continuously and stole from your closet supply. I truly am sorry. I am ashamed of what I did, but I had no choice. Lily, my dear, I understand you did what you had to do. Now telling us your story, it all comes together. I'll allow you to live at my manor in safety away from Dumbledore. I'll also get you a mind healer for all the stuff you had to endure. Harry dear, would you like to meet your birth mother? My son, I forgot my son was here. Mrs. Potter. That's right, he's grown up without me. I'm not his mother. While I may be your son biologically, I was raised by both Professor Snape and Professor McGonagall, therefore making them my family. Hence Uncle Sev and my true mother. I am willing to be in your life, however I cannot view you as my mother, at least not yet. I hope I did not offend you by saying my thoughts. It hurts, Harry, but I understand. Of course, Harry, just having you in my life is enough. That leads me to one more question. Where is the love of my life? Lily, James is dead. No, Severus. James was my best friend, not my soulmate, don't you remember? Don't you remember, Severus? You and your soulmate? Where is your ring? Lily dear, who on earth are you talking about? You know who I'm talking about. You guys were there at our wedding. I was even there at your wedding, Severus. Lily, I am not married. Never have been. This is wrong. Something is wrong. I don't have my wand, Severus. May I use your potions lab to make the soulmate potion? There's no such thing as a soulmate potion, Lily. We should really get a mind healer soon, Minerva. I know what I'm talking about. Professor, where is your potions lab? I know exactly what I am talking about. I'll prove it. Please, Severus, she is clearly in denial on wanting to show us, and I say we let her. Yes. But her mental state, it's not functioning correctly. I am perfectly fine. Okay, maybe not, but I need to fix this. Lily, follow me. We'll make this so-called potion of yours. I rushed out of the room to follow my professor into her potions lab. From there, I grab all the necessary ingredients. This was a potion that Severus and I made together that took the world by storm. It was a potion that got implemented into all of the Wizarding School's curriculum. How can he not remember? Just underneath an hour it was finished, and I put a little bit of it into tiny vials. I grab a needle and I tell him what to do. Severus, prick your finger and let 2 drops of blood into this vial. Close the cap and shake it a bit, then put it on this piece of paper. He did as he was told, but the moment he placed the potion on the paper and his soulmate showed, he crouched to the floor howling in pain for a minute. Lily, what happened? You placed your potion on the paper and immediately went down on the ground. You were in so much pain that you missed who your soulmate was. Do you wish to do it again? Absolutely not. That was a horrible feeling. Damn it, I'll have to try again at a later date. Fine, at least let me show you who mine is. I pricked my finger and allowed the blood to work into the potion. After shaking it, I poured it on the paper. In an instant, a cloud of smoke appeared showing me that my soulmate was alive and well, along with what they are doing in that moment. They're alive, thank God. But why the hell is she with him? She belongs to me. She is mine. We're even married for Merlin's sake. For though wondering what twisted chapter means, it is quite literally in the name. Earlier in the story, I hated what I was doing with the book and noticed I've gone off course with it. But seeing as how some people enjoyed it, I could not bring it to myself to delete said chapters, so instead, I decided to go on the path that this story has two different storylines. If you're wondering, well, where are the earlier twisted chapters? AKA chapter 1 in a twisted from. They don't exist, they follow up to the story until I put in the T chapter 1 to 14 leading up to chapter 15. T is the storyline. Any number that has T beside it means that chapter follows a different storyline from the original. Hope this helps. 20 Harry's Pav. Reading my book on charms, I noticed that time went by quickly. Soon it was time to go to the meeting my uncle had said along with Uncle Sev. I'm very curious to what it was about, perhaps the adoption. Of course it would be about the adoption, why did I even ask that? Thankfully, due to my curiosity of exploring the manor, I easily found my way to the informal dining room. Hey, oh God. My apologies. I was reading quite a good book that lifted my spirits up. Hello Uncle Malcolm, Uncle Sev, grandmother, grandfather, Aunt Amelia. I won't deny it, I'm incredibly curious to what this meeting is about. I assume it's regarding my blood adoption. You are correct, Harry. While you agreed to do the blood adoption, we were thinking, or at least it was my idea that we all liked and agreed on, but it is only you who can decide. Seeing how you are incredibly close to Severus here, we would like to know if you are willing to do the blood adoption with him to become his heir as well. You do not have to say yes. However, the benefits of merging his blood with yours is that you also get his magical powers as well. There is no doubt that Severus is an extraordinarily powerful wizard, and anything you get from him, let it be properties or money, when he dies, it goes to you. And are you okay with that, Uncle Sev? Yes, Harry, I am. I see you as my son and watched you grow up. Ladies have never interested me and neither have men, but I did want a child and was very close to adopting one soon. However, given the opportunity, I would be more than happy to adopt you. There is no denying that I do love Uncle Sev and I do see him as a father figure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I take on your blood, doesn't that mean I'll get your appearances as well? Yes, you would. However, given that you would have more than one blood flowing in you, whichever your magic chooses from us would be your dominant features. For instance, if your magic decides to have my nose, which I'm praying it doesn't, then you would get my nose. However, you wouldn't get my hair if your magic chooses to have your mother's brown, wavy hair. Does that make sense? I really hope I don't get your nose. That makes more sense. Uncle Malcolm, I know earlier this week I said I refused to merge with your blood for I want the Potters to be dominant. However, I'm curious, would there be a difference if I merged yours and mother's? Yes. Your mother and I are two different people in regards to power and what we have to offer. While biologically we both have the same blood, we do not necessarily have the same magic. Your mother is phenomenal in transfigurations, however she is horrendous at runes. Though I don't know about your birth mother given you have her magic flowing. I'll add the answer to that, for I knew Lily. There is no mystery that Lily was amazing in charms. However, you might notice that your herbology skills are quite lacking. This is due to Lily magic lacking the powers to excel in herbology. I believe it was also James' downfall as well. I thought it was because plants hate me. Least it makes sense to why I don't do well in that class. I see. So by merging your blood with mine, I would essentially have 1/5 of everyone? Because you have my birth parents, which is clearly 2 people, and because of the direct bloodline, my own blood, then add in mother's. And Uncle Malcolm, and lastly Uncle Sev, so 5 parents? I hope I did the math right, correct? Well done, thank you Auntie. So 5 parents, technically 3 for 2 of them are dead, 4 different blood would be running through me and I'd look like a mixture of all of you? Yes. This is quite a lot to take in. When can we do it? You're willing to do that? Just like that? No need to take time to think about it? Yes. I already see you all as family and would trust you with my life. I see no problems in delaying it. I just hope I get your best features. Then we shall go to the Italian Gringotts tomorrow, Min. Sister. Mother. Mine Vera. We all whipped to see Mother leaning against the door frame looking quite tired but better. Mother. You should be resting. Why are you even out of bed? Do you need tea? Do you want dinner? I can call an elf for you. I quickly left my chair to carefully bring her to mine to sit down. It would do no good for her standing there. I'm all right, Harry, just tired. After all, I just did wake up. You were asleep for 4 days, sis. Really? I didn't realize I was out of it for that long, but I'm all right now. I may have been late to the conversation, but I was able to pick up pieces on what you guys were discussing about. How far did you hear? Just you doing the math on blood. I pretty much missed everything else. Are you sure you're ready for us to adopt you, Harry? Yes, Mother, though perhaps not tomorrow, for you still need rest. We shall see how I'm feeling. If I get rest tonight, I should be good to go tomorrow. If not, then the day after tomorrow. Get plenty of rest, Minerva. If not, I'll be tracking down your every move, making sure you do not overdo it. Grandmother, I will be fine. The sooner we do this, the quicker we can get out of Dumbledore's grasp, for he would not be able to do anything. I shall contact the goblins tomorrow morning. Let them know of our plans. I'm sure they would be more than willing to help us. For now, it is quite late given it's 1:30 in the morning and you need rest, sister. Yes, Malcolm, do not worry, I will get plenty of rest. Good night, everyone. I helped Mother back to her rooms after saying good night to the others. You sure you'll be all right, Mother? Trust me, Harry, I am fine. I am very happy you've chosen to do the blood adoption with us, including Severus, given that he was here. Of course, I am proud to be a McGonagall. Well, Potter, McGonagall, Snape, really. I'll probably just stick with McGonagall, for it is not much of a mouthful. You are still my son no matter which name you decide to go with. Now go to bed, Harry, we have quite the day tomorrow. Maybe, it depends. Oh hush, now off to bed you go. I love you, Mom. I love you too. 21 Twisted or Regular Chapter next. Minerva Pov. After my 5 days of rest, my son, Severus and Malcolm were all heading for the Italian Gringotts to get Harry blood adopted. It took a lot of convincing and reassuring everyone that I was all right. As we neared to the bank, Malcolm stopped the 3 of us and explained some stuff beforehand. Before we go in, everyone, much like the goblins back in Britain, we are to treat them with the highest respect, given they highly respect us as well. Another thing to note is that because we are in Italy, the goblins' first language spoken to us will be in Italian and won't use English in public unless we are taken to a private room. Lastly, don't be surprised if they are dramatic. Dramatic? Those sound reasonable, though please explain the dramatic part, Malcolm. You'll see what I mean, Severus, you'll see. We walked in and well, we saw what he meant. Is this normal, Malcolm? I'd like to know the answer to, Severus. It's not that busy today, which is shocking. Usually it's 10 times worse. So I'm thankful we went today then. I watched as Malcolm strolled up to a teller and spoke in Italian. Clearly the teller knew who he was, for suddenly an elaborate handshake was drawn, a hug given, and alcohol was served to him. Not then a few minutes after that did the teller yell out something that we couldn't understand, and goblins surrounded my brother and lifted him up as he crowd surfed through the bank. I've been to enough Muggle concerts in my younger days to know what crowd surfing is. Brings back memories of how I was one of those people. In one of those concerts, finally the goblins are finished with their unprofessional behaviors and focused on us. Everyone, Teller Drago is going to take us to see the King Goblin. He believes we deserve better than some measly teller. I argue otherwise, but he's stubborn, so come along. Mother, please tell me my eyes are not deceiving me and that we watched Malcolm be hoisted up by the goblins recently? I saw it too, Harry. Did you, Severus? Yes, I've never seen anything like it. Nevertheless, even when we first walked in and saw the goblins having quite the party with its customers, I wouldn't use the word quite walking in and seeing what they were doing. I would never want to be thrown into a dance circle competition with the goblins or take part in their very interesting drinking game. Brother, care to explain? In due time, dear sister. I'll tell you after this is all done and we all become family? I didn't push, for I know my brother will keep his promise and tell us later. At last we arrived at the king's door. Teller Drago knocked and explained who we were. We were given access once the door opened. Lord McGonagall, do come in, old friend, as well as guests. We all walked in and followed my brother's action and bowed to him. Lord McGonagall, you never have to bow to me, you know this, please introduce your guests. The short but old and noble goblin gestured to us. I can't believe he did not recognize me. The man wearing all black is Britain's best potions master and Hogwarts professor, Severus Snape. The young boy biologically is the Potter's family boy, the boy who lived, Harry Potter, but refers to himself as a McGonagall. Lastly is my very sweet yet sometimes violent sister, Minerva. I'm surprised you didn't recognize her. Please forgive me, Lady McGonagall, it has been such a long time since I have last saw you. It is all right, Your Majesty, it has been a good 11 years since I've been to Italy. Now I normally know you handle all your finances with a teller back in the main hall, so please tell me what it is that I can do for you that Drago had to personally bring you to me. Your Majesty, I wish to adopt the Potter's boy via blood adoption. And it is not just me who also wants to adopt him. My brother and Severus wish to merge their blood alongside mine and essentially make Harry heir to all of us. We would have done this in Britain, however, given Dumbledore, we felt it would be safer here, for he does not have control. I hate Dumbledore for meddling himself with the goblins. He has already took control of Britain, which we know as England and Wales. I believe all of the kings have gotten word that he has managed to gain control in Scotland and is making his way to Ireland. It is safe to assume that he is trying to take control of the United Kingdom and would try to move on to other countries. Damn Dumbledore. Regardless of that information, given that you are friends of the goblins here in Italy, Ireland, Scotland and Britain, even though it is banned there, the goblins would have still helped you. We'd be more than happy to proceed with the blood adoption for you guys. Thank you. Follow me, everyone. I'll take you guys to a ritual room and have you wait there as I grab the specialized goblins to help you through this journey. We did as told. Once we got into the room, instantly a goblin there handed us a white robe. I wispy and is special in ritual magic. I is sorry for English bad, it is not a language I is good at. White robe is for good magic, magic recognize you. And should accept as family. How adorable, I already love Wispy. What Wispy is trying to say is that by putting on the white robe, the robe is going to cleanse you of any negative magic such as blocks, potions, obliviations, and anything dark from your body and mind. The robe is doused in a special goblin-made potion and has to be worn beforehand for the ritual to work completely. In most cases, this robe lightly cleanses witches and wizards, and the side effects given from the dark magic is a headache, so I'm hoping that will be the same for all of you. Once the robe cleanses you, take off the robe and proceed to the ritual. Circle. Once the ritual proceeds, Lady Magic should take a look at you and see if you are worthy to adopt Harry Potter as your own. I suspect she will deem you and others worthy of adopting young Harry. If she deems you worthy, then Harry should be getting both blood, magic and looks from everyone. Of course, dominantly would be the Potter blood, for that is the first. However, there are very few cases where the first blood changes into the adopter's blood, so be aware of that possibility. However, if she deems you unworthy, you do not have to worry. Lady Magic cherishes all wizarding children and will not strip him of his powers. He will be left with his own magical bloodline. You may continue to adopt him through the legal process of paperwork as a plan. I believe I have explained enough. I am going to leave you all be for the cleansing process. I have other goblins to find. Should you need help or have questions, Wispy is more than happy to answer. With all that information to process, His Majesty left. Wispy conjured private screens for all of us to change into those white robes, and the last thing I recall was myself, Severus and Harry screaming in pain with Wispy shouting something. In case you ever feel stupid about yourself, when writing this chapter, I forgot what Italy's official language was. So trying to remember what the language was when writing, my first answer that popped up was French. My brain thought Italy's official language was French. Then realizing it was wrong, my next thought was Portuguese. Again it was wrong, so then I thought it was Gaelic. I eventually had to search it up. 22 Wow, I rarely check my account and I have 1.06k followers. Thank you to everyone who has followed me. As a treat, want me to do a face reveal or a get to know the author? Malcolm Pov. What on earth just happened? Wispy. Why did they all faint? Bad magic in them. Robe cleans them, but it was too much. I brings Drago and his majesty. And with that she left the room. Bad magic. What on earth did Dumbledore place upon them? We heard everyone, but you fainted. Your majesty, yes. As soon as they put on their robes it was just immediate screaming and they collapsed. Whatever magic they had on them must have been overwhelming. See how the robe is glowing still compared to yours. Yes. That is the robe cleansing them of the magic. Most of the time this reaction only occurs for a solid minute, but given it's ongoing, I suspect it's going to need help of the goblins to continue this ritual. Maybe, it might also take a few days depending on how they're feeling, for it's painful. So what do we do in the meantime? I cannot just stand here and watch my family go through a bunch of pain. We wait. What? No. Is there anything we can do to at least ease the pain? Unfortunately not, Lord McGonagall. We just have to wait for the magic to be done and over with. How long do you suspect it'll take? Thankfully Harry should be the first one to rise out of it. You cannot see it, but through goblin vision, there is a ring around the robe displaying a color. Most people have a green ring signifying a minor placement, however there are 4 colors. Green for minor, yellow for significant amounts, red for major, and purple for unholy amounts. You can say purple is very very rare. Your color was green, Harry's is yellow, but both Lady McGonagall and Sir Snape have red. So Harry should be out of it first. Yes, it's already been 3 minutes, he should be out of it in the next minute. At least Harry won't be in extreme pain compared to my sister and Snape. Uncle Malcolm? He, awake. Harry, are you alright? I feel like I've gotten beaten up by a troll's club, then sudden strangled by a devil's snare. Oddly specific. At least the cleansing process is over. Your Majesty, can Harry take a pain-relieving potion, or will that affect the ritual? He can take one, but not the wizard's version, the goblin's version. Drago, bring 3 vials of the goblin's pain relievers. How is Mom and Uncle Sev? They're still going through the cleansing process. It'll be a while before they wake up. Will they be okay? Yes, in pain, but they'll be okay. They're one of the strongest people I know, especially my sister. True, Mother is strong. Despite her age she can put up a really good physical fight, those poor guys. Oh, I want to hear this story later. I'm back with the potions, Your Highness. Harry, take one of these. It tastes awful, but I assure you, the magic works right away. Drink it all in one go. I helped Harry drink the potion, for he physically could not lift the cup. I was cradling him. If this is the reaction he got from the cleansing, then I wonder how the 2 of them are going to feel. Thank you, Your Majesty. I feel better already. He got out of my arms to stand, stumbled a bit, but thankfully he was all right. That's odd, very odd. That shouldn't be happening. I heard the king mumbled, "What's wrong, Your Majesty?" Sir Snape, his color went from red to purple. That has only occurred twice, and that was when the robe found a hidden, strongly guarded magic within the wizard. So how much pain is Uncle Sev in? Take the pain you endured and make it 5 times worse. Essentially he is feeling like he is being burned alive with knives and swords slashing all over him. You said that the ritual can take up to days, correct? Normally it wouldn't, but in this case, it might have to. Sir Snape is going to stay here under our watch. That reaction should not have happened. By the time the magic is done, his body and mind will be shut down in hopes of healing himself and will need goblin assistance. Malcolm, Harry, Mother, are you alright? I can barely move my body, but I have enough strength to sit up. Damn, she really is strong. Mother, here, take this potion. Goblin Maid, it's their version of the pain reliving potion, all in one go. Absolutely disgusting, but I feel much better. Severus is still going through the process? His process is much worse, Lady McGonagall. As I was telling these 2, he will have to stay with us, for his body and mind will shut down. Oh my. How long we were out for? Malcolm, cleansing was a solid minute as expected. Harry was out for a good 4 minutes. You were out for 8, and Severus will be whenever. And we can do nothing to relieve him of his pain? Nothing at all, he has to endure it? What exactly happened to him? Who or what placed such bad magic on him? We do have results of the magic that was placed upon you, and by whom. Would you like to hear it now or wait for Sir Snape to wake up? I personally prefer to wait for Severus to wake up so we can all get the shock over with, sister? Harry? I agree with Uncle Malcolm, it would do us well to be together. Very well, it'll be 2 against 1, so we shall wait for Severus to wake up. For that brief moment it was silent. We all watched as Severus withered around in pain with us feeling ashamed of ourselves. Harry, Severus. We all rushed to him with Harry holding his head. Pain. Too much. Tired. Rest Uncle Sev, we will wait for you. Ritual. Another day, rest Uncle. You are safe. Those words seemed to give him some sense of peace as he passed out in Harry's hand. Amazing man he is. The 2 other wizards that have experienced this all passed out. For him to be awake, brief as it was, he is truly powerful. This man earned more of my respect than I ever thought possible. Lady and Sir McGonagall, this ritual will be placed on a later date when everyone is rested and healed. My advice to you now is to go home, eat something filling, take a bath or anything you do to relax. Sir Snape will be placed in good and trusted hands, I can assure you of that. Thank you, Your Majesty. For the last time. My name is Arawak, call me by my name. All of you have my honor to use it. Thank you, Arawak 18. One thing I need to mention is that I'm uploading chapters for 4 stories now. Debating a 5th. They're at the end of this chapter. Also filler chapter, sorry but twisted, just like you guys asked, Harry's Pav. I watched as my birth mother screamed at the cloud showing her soulmate. While Uncle Sev could not see for he was still howling and withering around in pain, we could. It showed a moving picture of a Mr. Malfoy and Mrs. Malfoy. I don't understand. Madam Lily, I do not understand this soulmate potion, what is it supposed to do? It's supposed to show you who your soulmate or soulmates are, but something is off here, all of you have seemed to lost your memory of this potion. Severus and I made this potion when we were in our 6th year, it was super simple and could be finished underneath 45 minutes, that is if you knew what you were doing. It got implemented into the school curriculum, surely you know what I'm talking about, right, Professor? I looked back at my mother who also seemed to be in pain just now. Mom, are you all right? What are all of these images? I don't recall any of them. They're memories, Professor. This situation must have triggered them. I suspect Dumbledore is the one who erased all of your memories. But why would Dumbledore shut their memories? For the same reason he didn't want you knowing I was alive. Then why didn't he just kill you and call it a day? Wow, rude. Sorry but it's true, but you're right, he didn't kill me for he needed me. With him erasing Severus' memories, he couldn't go to him for the potions or ingredients he needed because Severus would simply not know. But I would? So did Dumbledore, you are a requirement in his plans, correct? Just what exactly is Dumbledore is doing to my family? What is it that we have that he needs? Why does he feel the need to hurt us? Anyways. Sorry for the short chapter. I promise the next one is longer and will explain things. I just needed something to get it started. As stated above, I am currently writing 4 stories and debating on publishing a 5th one. Harry McGonagall, the one you're reading currently. Harry Potter is actually Harry Malfoy, where Harry Potter finds out he's actually Draco Malfoy's twin brother. The 2 brothers goes through hardship and changes in their life. They question friendship, tasks, love and loyalty. Split into 2 MDZS, the untamed story after Wei Wuxian falls off of the cliff, Lan Zhan snaps into 2. After suppressing his dark side for so long, during the 33 whips to being disciplined, smoke arises from Lan Zhan and suddenly, a hand reaches out to stop the whip from hurting Lan Zhan even more. Said hand picks up Wang Ji and leaves Cloud Recess. Brothers-in-law AMDZS, the untamed story. This is a story about how Wei Wuxian and Lan Shichen, who both somehow traveled back in time, come face to face with Jin Zixuan, whose soul is now back from the dead and is well aware that they are from the future. These 3 brothers-in-law now have a choice. Do we change the future or do we stay on par with it? The Cliff, unpublished, MDZS, the untamed story. What if Lan Zhan was very close to falling off of the cliff while holding Wei Wuxian? What if he fell with him? This story takes place during the Battle of the Sunshot campaign and it is about Wang Xian and their adventures after they supposedly died.